Welcome to episode 44 of Around the Mage Table, the podcast for the rest of us. I am joined by some donkeys, starting with Scrapclaw, who was upset we didn't start with her last week. Scrap, how you doing today?
Was I upset about that?
Yeah, you're like, why do you always finish with me? Is it sexism?
Yeah, that sounds like me. I'm doing good today. Thank you for asking me first.
I ask you, how you doing?
Fresh off the Cauldron of Carnage kill 2 of 8 mythic.
Wow, he brought his own soundbite. You were playing with fire tonight, my dude.
Frankie baby, I'm doing
Nothing
great.
makes me more irate. Not that the sounds came up, but that the icons showed up on your face. Nothing makes me more irate.
Oh my god.
Speaking of
Frankie baby,
irate,
I'm doing great.
Speaking of irate, Lithian, sworn enemy.
You let the angry Asian go last.
Oh
I
man.
see how
So
it is.
for those of you that are coming to see the end of a podcast, I will give you some transparency. That is a clickbait title. But today we have a topic that I want to bring you guys in. I want to bring back the veil on our MDI run, right? I wouldn't say we were practicing,
Right.
but we were just doing our thing. And chaos erupted. Scrap, you called it, what was it, BeeGate?
BeeGate, yeah,
Right.
Cinnabar meadery. So we call it BeeGate.
So we will talk about that in a little bit. But before then, we do have some news to cover. You guys ready to jump straight in?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, cool. So we're going to start with talking about 11.1.5 PTR. There have been some updates that are suggesting that we might actually see this by, I think, the date that Mr. GM recommended, which he usually has these things right. Said April 22nd. So we're under a month away from 11.1.5.
What? That's so soon. What the heck?
Again, I think it's 6 to 8 weeks from a patch launch. Our patch launched on the 27th of February, so we'd be looking at 7 to 8 weeks then.
I need some dinars, man, so I can get a best in slots.
Well, we still don't know how or at least I don't think we know how the dinars are coming in on this patch yet, right? But we are still seeing things change. Now, Lithian, you and I said last week we were going to go on and try the Dastardly duos. We did not. I know you did unspeakable things on Sunday night with someone you're married to. I'm not going to repeat the horrific things you've put in our chat.
Talk about a dastardly duo.
So organic.
I was out of town Saturday night. I had the kids by myself and I was just trying to survive. So we didn't get a chance to try it yet. However, we did get some news that there is going to be officially the helm slot for the enchantments that were coming from the horrific visions. Things like the corruption effects. Scrap, for some reason, thought this meant that her tier set was going to have to be replaced.
I thought it was a helmet, like you get a helmet. I forgot this. I forgot the whole thing we talked about. So I was spreading misinformation in the Discord. I've been corrected.
If there was one thing that I would say I take away from this podcast is you don't remember anything we ever talk about.
I don't. Just earlier.
And she doesn't read anything we post. She just skims it.
Literally last week the affix came in, the Zalatath affix, and somebody was saying like, oh, like we didn't kill it and then I died because of a mechanic hit me. I was like, dude, the affix doesn't buff like the damage on anything if you fail it. Like God. it's just I swear. And everybody was like,
this person was me.
No, it was somebody else.
No, I told you this and we got mad at you because we said we talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah. Yes, well, I was bringing up the story is that I was so like blindsided because I didn't realize that was different, and you were like, "Dude, we literally covered that on the podcast." I was like, "Dude, I don't."
So
I
just to repeat for those who don't know, in this season they replaced the affix's negative effect, which was random. Sometimes it would make the boss do more damage, sometimes it would make it take less damage, whatever. Now they just have a flat. I think it's for every one you miss, it takes 20% less damage and does 10% more damage. Collectively. So for example, this week's affix was the spell affix, and I was playing on my Mistweaver earlier, and it was infuriating having a paladin tank, a mage, and I think a druid. Druids can dispel their own, right?
I don't know.
Anyone can dispel it if it's just a dispel.
No, I think warriors
can't. Okay,
warrior
can't.
They have no utility.
But but the mage wasn't decursing, and we were in Theater of Pain, so that was also especially annoying because, literally everyone had that fear effect. And the tank wasn't either, so I was just losing my mind. And then every time because it was a 10, I'm not that well geared. I was already falling behind on healing. I wasn't in a position to say, okay, well now I can worry about an affix and heal that up as well. And so yeah, every 45 seconds or whatever it was, people were the bosses and mobs were taking 40% less damage and trucking us. So Scrap, please carry this wealth of knowledge out into the world and make it a better place. Because
instead of lying to people,
well, as we will discuss later in today's episode about BeeGate, you are a literal source of fake news. I don't, and you don't do it on purpose. Like, let's be clear.
No.
You are just a jackass, and
I'm extreme. I say things very confidently that I have no business being confident about.
Charismatically clumsy, I think is a great way to put it.
Yeah.
I will say, before we move off of this, I'll tell you that all the Death Knights are rejoicing that they made this change.
Yes.
So they're super happy.
Because you can't use your rune forging with the weapon enchant.
Yes.
Yeah. How do they overlook that? That's fucking stupid.
I'll be honest. I could understand it. It's not like they didn't. It's not like malicious. It's not negligent. It's just like you're doing so damn much all the damn time that you're like, oh fuck, DKs. I forgot about their stupid rune enchant instead of just an actual enchant. That's what I assume happened.
Well, they should have a product person that takes care of DKs, but whatever.
Before we get too far off it, like if the DKs were to send with like a different enchant, would that impact how they play, or does it need to be like one of those two specific ones that they get?
It's important.
Well, yeah, it's a part of their kit.
It ties into
it's like
their
6% strength, or some of them have parry on them, don't they?
Yeah, it's really good.
That's just pretty huge, yeah.
And to answer Lith your point of someone should be overseeing DKs. I don't think they ever explicitly say what, and people might be able to figure out just based on activity on the forums and all that. But it's really surprising to see that some classes have maybe a dedicated developer, or even some specs might even have a dedicated developer, whereas others might have multiple specs that they're responsible for. So Scrap and her survival, dev might be also covering for.
I died years ago.
Yeah, might be also covering for augmentation and affliction warlock.
Oh no!
Meanwhile, Mage each has a developer for each one of their specs, and that's why they're always so gorgeous and amazing.
Here's what I picture is that they have like a council, like a congress, and they have a spec for each one.
A League of Nations.
Exactly. That's exactly it. A League of Nations, and they put this on everyone's desk, and they say, "Look over this memo." That's kind of what I'm picturing. So I don't know if that's how it works.
Interesting. If maybe years down the line, when there are a few expansions ahead, that may be releasing some old dev notes from this era and just kind of seeing like what people say when they put new ideas out for classes and when they do stuff like that.
When you say people, you mean players?
Yeah, no, like the
Congress,
the developers. Like, let's say if it's like an arcane developer and they're showing like, oh, hey, this is my war within notes. I want to change how this bug works. I know the players like it, but I think we can make it better. And stuff. I think it would be really interesting to read how they kind of go about doing that.
I'm sure that's like proprietary secrets and stuff.
Though. Yeah, but he's saying if you were to look back 5 years,
when it's Final Fantasy?
When it's no longer top secret, when it's no longer being talked about in Signal, a little
who's gonna read it? Absolutely,
a little topical humor for you there, Lithia. I know how much you appreciate that.
Yeah, dude, I got Signal. I'm good. I got all the war plans, bro.
Well, speaking of tuning, let's go ahead and jump into this week's tuning. We have some Mythic Plus tuning, not a lot of it, but just a little bit. So Thunder Punch on Floodgate, Lithian, doesn't absolutely obliterate the
41%.
41%.
Wow.
Which, by the way, I didn't think it was that bad anymore after they did some nerfs to it. I guess week 1 or right before the season started. And then
I handled it.
There's a lot
I handled it after I figured it out.
There was a lot of panic during the handling.
Oh my god, dude! The first time I got hit with that, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, the RPGG, they didn't fix it though. Instead of reducing the damage, they should have just reduced the cast time, brother.
How about reduce the size of the circles?
Reduce the size of the circle.
No, I don't think this is that. I mean, it's about like
it's so annoying.
Sure,
RPGG,
but
it's you probably if you're doing it in coordinated groups, you can lock it down.
It's a guy that shoots grenades into the air and they produce these big circles,
big circles, and he does it rapid fire. So it's like it's just like
okay,
the
let's
entire
be clear. Because I think the word rapid fire is not fair. He does one, and it's like 5 seconds of circles, and you're like, oh, I gotta get out.
Yeah.
And then he'll pause for a second, and then you'll do another one, right? So over the course of 10 seconds, you have 2 sets of circles to avoid. And then he'll do a reload, right? Which is like a 6-second cast, where if you lock him down, he will no longer have the ability to cast RPGG.
Well, why not just lock him down while he's casting. Then you don't have any circles.
You didn't do anything. You just stood there.
Yeah, I see. Well, I'm running around in circles, not just standing there.
That's the guy with that when like puts out like the debuffs too at the same time, like the healing debuffs you have to heal through.
No,
I haven't noticed that, but maybe
there is one by after the first boss. There's that blood bolting guy that Lithium wants to double.
That guy,
the blood bolting guy and those back ones. There is an RPG guy.
The big ogre or whatever.
Yes. Yeah, right before you take the hang glider.
Yeah.
There is an RPG guy there, and it's so annoying.
Yeah, but that mob's just being really annoying for the healers, full stop.
Honestly, I feel like that one you need to blast down just because it's like there's nowhere to move. You need to kick a thing. The healer is stressed out. Like literally just fucking blast that guy, especially if you're melee heavy, and then move on.
That was 20% less, so maybe it'll be easier.
Well, now it doesn't look like it'll absolutely punish you if you.
Well, you don't want to get hit by it anyway. That's so stupid. Like 20% left, you just got a higher key, it will one-shot you.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe their concern is though not the higher keys. Maybe they're saying, yeah, in a higher key you should die, but 8, maybe not.
Maybe.
Sure.
Rookery, Dark Gravity. I think this is the second boss's ability to pull people in. Is that right?
No,
not the boss. It's the trash. Yeah,
it's the mobs.
Well,
I noticed
Stormguard Goran isn't that the boss?
No, he's got an ability too. He's got a similar ability, but yeah, they put the dark circle on the ground and it pulls you towards it and does the pulsing AoE.
So I think the reason why they nerfed this to 4 seconds from 6 was because this was also annoying to deal with the debuff. I noticed this today when I was running the Rookery that I was trying to hand off. We didn't have a DK, so we couldn't wipe it. I was trying to hand it off to the melee. There were 3 melee, myself as a healer, and then a mage or something. And I had it first, so I was like, cool, I'll give it to the 3 melee. And they can sort it between the 3 of them from that point, right? And so I go and hand it into melee, and what I notice as soon as I start running out is the Dark Gravity happens, and the 3 of them are losing their ever-loving mind and just running around.
Everybody scatter.
And so then I noticed that they ran towards me. Now, luckily, at the time, I just rolled into a fucking, shaft of a mine or something over the left.
Yeah.
But so I think this is just to help alleviate that part of the problem of the equation. It wasn't necessarily
Those don't overlap, do they? The debuff and the pull-in?
The one I had did. Now, granted, we may not notice it because if a DK takes off immediately off the table, then you're not seeing it, period.
Yeah.
But over the course of 4 stacks of, I think it's 4 seconds each, that could definitely overlap.
Yep.
I will say in a pug, I don't give a fuck about the group. I will not get that debuff. I just run from anybody who tries to give it to me.
Well, now I know.
Because I'm worried I'm just going to be left to die.
Dude, you're the fucking problem.
I am a problem, yeah.
Oppressive Banner's health has been adjusted. Now, when I first read this, I think they wrote that it was nerfed, right?
It says possibly.
So they haven't confirmed this yet, it looks like, but maybe
Do you think they bumped it up because people on high keys were ignoring it?
Were they?
No.
Somebody told me that. Again, wrong information confidently, but somebody told me that in a 13 or a 14 that they just ignored it.
In the 10s and 11s.
I don't know who they are.
In the 10s and 11s, I've been doing it. Go on, Lithium, sorry.
No, I mean, it would depend on the comp and how they're dealing with it. Because if the oppressive banner's up, I mean, you're just moving slow, right?
I don't remember who told me that. Somebody told me that, but I was like, interesting. Yeah, you're just moving slow. It doesn't do any extra damage to you or anything.
Yeah, but you need to have it down so you can successfully manage the leap to the middle of the room.
Hold on now. If it went up, then people would just be more encouraged to ignore it.
Yeah.
So it probably went down.
Yeah.
I'm just sorting. Yeah. I'm just running through it in my head. That doesn't make any sense.
I was going to say I've done it 10 and 11s on my Mistweaver Monk. Now, granted, when I'm a mage, half of the time I'm down there getting stunned and poisoned by scrap.
Yep.
But it was just the right amount of health at 10 and 11s that if someone wasn't paying full attention to it, we still could deal with it. Now, granted, Mistweaver does have more DPS than usual for a healer. However, I would say that when we get into the 13s and 14s realms, now granted, we still have some more gear to get, but I would definitely be worried about that lasting too long, and I think this is what that's suggesting.
Doug Pleb and I did an 11 last week, early in the week when 11s were kind of tough to do. And fucking we did a pug group where they wouldn't kill the banner, and even when they did kill the banner, they were repeatedly getting killed by the things. It was fucking insane. You can ask him. We were in that dungeon for over a fucking hour, and it was we're gonna time it until we got to this boss. We did this one last. It was insane.
Speaking of Theater of Pain, though, did you guys see that they updated the graphics on the ground?
Yeah.
Did you
so
see
you
that,
could
Frank?
actually see Yeah, dude, that's
A lot better.
that's
Oh, well, I will say
Low-key-
though, I did still get hit by it when I thought I wasn't in it. I'm not sure if that's just a bug or
Wow.
not.
if it's a little bit off,
yeah.
but dude,
I was
the
close, but not that
tornado.
close.
Honestly, the tornado mobs in that area
they're-
before the soul boss is
they're
like a
so done.
negligible mechanic now. Because
Yeah,
it's like,
it's
oh,
so
I can
done.
see where
Can
it
we-
is.
hold
Dude,
on.
we should go left now.
Can we
'cause
talk
it's
No,
about
not
this
going
though?
left.
Can we talk
Yeah.
about this though? A lot of pugs. So I'm referring to the maze of the lich boss. A lot of
Yeah.
pugs for some reason want to go that left route, and part of me
Yeah.
thinks it's because they want to skip those two mobs because you can easily skip them by just going and pulling the mobs to the left and then going behind them. But they
Yeah.
never do. They always pull
I've never seen
them,
someone do it.
right? And then, even though it's a lot easier to see it now, no one's decursing, so everyone's getting like feared
Yeah.
into shit.
Yeah, everywhere.
And no one's
yeah.
interrupting. And I just feel like it's such a bad thing for a pug to do because as the inverse, the mob on the opposite platform is, I think, two bone maguses and the bone storm guy, like, you know, the whatever guy.
Yeah, the bone storm guy.
That practically does nothing, in my opinion.
Mhm.
I don't do anything with them.
I think that is the significantly easier platform if you're going to choose the middle pack to pull. And I don't understand why pugs are doing that. Like,
Do
is
they
it because
give
they're seeing
equal
routes?
percent?
Maybe.
Right.
But there's
That's all you gotta
there's
do.
not a percent problem in Theater of
No.
Pain.
I like to go left because I just like to mix it up every now and then. I don't
No,
always want to go
you don't
right.
get to choose.
yeah,
You don't get to choose. You go where we go.
I think they're
Contribution
probably
is that
take.
scrap.
I don't know. I think they both take the about the same amount of time. I'm just saying every now and then,
It's
like
about
if
ease,
somebody
not
goes
about
left, I'm
time.
like, you know.
Oh,
I don't know.
No, but to the point though that like there's not a percentage problem. So I would even argue that going to the left and then just veering to the left for the ads and killing that ad and then sneaking by them makes way more sense to me. But no one ever does it either. They instead just
Yeah.
choose the harder of all of the options, which is, and again, it's not even that hard now, especially with the thing. But I still see pugs getting obliterated by it, and of course not
Yeah.
decursing. Speaking of which, Bone Magus has now got a 4-second cast time instead of 3.5, which is nice.
I feel
But
like that's not
no one's interrupting
that
it.
helpful. Yeah, no one's interrupting it anyway.
You know, again, this is like a pug killer, and granted, they did give us a little extra
A huge
time,
bug killer. Yeah.
but it's just the one person kicking, and
Can I tell a funny
I-
story real quick?
yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
So I was in a group where a couple bone spears were getting off, and I'm like, guys, we gotta interrupt these. These are killing us. And so we were so focused on the bone spears that someone let the friggin' volley get off.
Yeah.
That just wiped us. I'm like, oh, I forgot about the other one.
The two things you have to kick. It's so hard.
Oh, God.
Brutal. Yep.
Yeah.
That's
It's-
that was my
theater
story.
pain.
it's like I don't understand it. I had a paladin, a prop paladin, you know, and with divine toll and all that stuff, you'd think they could. I know I could single-handedly handle both of those bone
Yeah,
spears.
man.
And
Paladin.
He was not even handling one. It was just like, what
Oh.
are you
Yeah.
doing, dude? But anyways, that's my rant
Well,
about pugs.
we just
Look at our
goes to
tier
show
list to
that
see.
even if your friends are terrible at the game, pugs are still kind of hard mode.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, true.
yeah.
And then workshop. Anti-personal squirrel has been increased to 3.5 seconds, an extra half second for scrap to get out of the way, and still not.
No,
make
they
it.
should make it smaller. That's what I would do instead.
No,
It's
I
too
don't.
big.
I think zone control is really important, and I think it's
You're
fun.
not even in the area that you need to
Do you
worry
think
about.
Who do you think they usually chase after? It's the healer and the ranged.
No way, it's
they
always
don't-
right on the tank. I swear to God.
No, they usually run away.
Ripping it to you.
Do you think this is one of those things where
It's a good idea.
the 3 seconds started counting as the circle was appearing, so they're giving you the extra half second because you didn't technically have the right amount of
Maybe.
reaction time?
I haven't had too much
I thought it
trouble
was-
getting out of it.
Yeah, I thought it
just
was
think
pretty
it's too
clear the
big.
squirrel was coming after you if you have your
Yeah.
nameplates on. And even if you
Yeah.
don't, it's a squirrel, you know.
It's a squirrel.
Get out of the way.
Okay, well that is Mythic Plus. We got some class tuning. Ooh la la. I don't
Ooh,
think this was. This came out on Friday, so this was after
for Tuesday,
for Tuesday.
last-
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was after we had recorded our episode, so we couldn't have it.
Oh,
for,
we didn't talk about the buffs
Right,
and
right.
stuff.
No.
Yeah.
So all things said, there's a lot going on here. In fact, here's the
Yeah,
Wowhead
just let's skip
awesome
that
thing.
and let's go to this. This
Right.
is all we need to talk about.
But I want to take a second just before we start. Well, actually, you know what? Scrap. Go ahead and talk about survival and why it's still donkey spec.
I won't. I'll send you that screenshot from the survival Discord that was just like it's still not competitive in keys. I think the takeaway from the the class buffs and nerfs here is that they're tuning it for raid. It seems like a lot of these buffs and nerfs are targeting like single target specs and single target rotations and kind of balancing them out for raid. That's your impression, right?
Usually they only care about the raid balancing, and I say only care. That is a very loose statement. They obviously will, nuke things if it's overpowered in M+. But like Fire, Windwalker, and Shadow, and Prot in general, like these were all taken one way or another on the Race to World First for a specific
Windwalker
reason.
was running away with it.
Well, both of them, Fire Mages too. Now, granted, Mages in general, like Muggsy, for example, are super, super, super important because apparently you can so Mages have the talent, they have time,
alter time.
Alter time, thank you. And they also can blink, I guess, through the walls of the jails.
What?
So yeah, so they could start in one of the spots. There's 3 of them in Mythic, I think. They start in one.
Go to the other one.
They'll blink to another one, blink to a third one, and then alter time out of all 3 of them, and then fight the boss. And because of Ignite, they just AoEing like crazy on all 3 of the mobs in there.
That's fun.
Now, granted, that sounds giga stressful, right? To pull that off successfully. Of course, the Race to World First folks do that, but that also leaves the Mythic Raiders to feel like they have to emulate that. And then, of course, Muggsy's really hard.
I'll tell you real quick. I just did an 11 rookery, and I had this survival hunter in my group. And let me tell you where she was at in the meter.
Don't tell me about where I was at.
That 4% didn't do
the
anything.
4% is just an aura buff. It the other ones are kind of estimation survival. They were just like, have 4%.
Well, Arcane got the biggest buff out of the lot.
Yeah,
8%.
Arcane got an 8% aura buff, just like across the board. Yeah, so
but
I will say that.
Good.
Looking at the breakdown of the other hunter specs for raid, they're going about evenly now, which is nice. It's cool for raid that you can kind of pick whatever hunter you want to be and just do that. I'm hoping that we get another tuning pass that's more targeted at Mythic Plus and kind of taking care of the stragglers, give them a little something.
I feel like that's what they'll do
nudge.
Later in the season.
Yeah. So I'm waiting on that. But I mean, I can't be mad at just like a 4% little aura buff. I don't know if that's like an offset that I'm also bad at it, but
well, also to bolster the idea that this is for raid only, right? 6%.
Balance is doing great in keys.
Balance is doing really poorly in raid, but is doing really well in keys, and
Paladin too.
Man. Our top DPS in raid is what? It's a balance druid.
Not always, but yes, DPS, often. He is a really good balance druid.
People. Yeah, he's really fucking good.
But Mistweaver got a heavy damage nerf, 25% damage reduced, but they compensated it by boosting the Jade Teaching healing effect of what damage does. Overall, a little bit of a nerf, which is surprising because everyone that's a Mistweaver was ready for the nuke to be dropped. Disc got nerfed as well. Resto says 0%, but there was a add to the patch notes on Monday that says all healing increased by 3%. I don't know if WoW had just missed this, but maybe there's something I don't understand because they did take a second to notate the 0%.
Maybe they forgot to write in the percent.
Well, I'm wondering if there's just they were fixing a bug, and so they buffed him 3%, but the bug nerfed him 3%. I assume that's what's happening.
That sounds like something somebody told me this week, but I don't remember.
But let's take a second. We're just going to quickly look at the AUG notes. So developers know
the AUG note is so passive aggressive, bro.
It's great.
After our last round of tuning, we are pleased with augmentation support capabilities, as that's their strength in the spec. However, their personal damage contribution is lower than we'd like. We're buffing their personal damage to bring their overall output to further increase their support contributions. All damage and aura buff 15%. However, and someone on one of the podcasts said this is actually not as big as you think it is. I'm not quite sure I understand the math of it. I'm sure there's a really good AUG spreadsheeter out there, but it does look like it translates to only a 5% buff. And the truth is,
15, so go on. Sorry.
Well, the truth is, this doesn't feel like it's going to do anything.
The truth is, nobody cares.
15% of a very small number is still a very small number, right? Like if it's percentage based. But
not in the case of the damage overall output, it's still 15%.
I'm doing math, watch out. But I just want to go back to the wording on that.
Yep.
The fact that they led with "we are very pleased" is
well, with the support side of it, the support capabilities. They're happy
No,
with.
I know, but it's such a like fuck you. We know what we did. We're pleased about it, you fuckers. Like I maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I can picture somebody stroking their cat.
This is another
evil.
Holly Longdale
Like,
moment. You're just thinking that
this
they're.
is a Holly Longdale moment, dude. People are on my side. The people are with me. This is
People.
a signal, like that. The blue post is sending
The
a
comments
signal,
say
like
otherwise.
whatever. My people are with me. They're sending the blue post is sending a signal to Oggs is like, we did this to you and we're happy about it. I think so. That's
Well,
just me.
from the sound of it, people who were playing Og didn't really enjoy playing Og anyway, so I'm sure they're like, we don't care.
Yeah.
No, I mean, this just seems like something that if they're just kind of throwing them a bone, like, hey, we're not going to really change much, but hey, here's a little something to maybe make it feel a little less bad if you are still playing it for some reason.
When I was playing or looking at the Radar IO stats, I think after 12 keys, maybe even lower than that, maybe like 10 or 8, like there wasn't a single augmentation invoker. Not a single one in last week's
funny.
keys.
I haven't seen a single one in a pug,
Right.
like or even in the queue for a pug, because I would take it instantly. I want to know what the fuck.
The fact that there's not even like a dedicated enough player base to be like, you know what, we don't care, we got nerf, we like this spec, we're gonna show everyone what we can do.
There'll
I think
always
that
be an
kind of
arcane in survival, right?
It's kind of a fail at this point.
It just shows
means they've
that
go back
Og
to the drawing
people.
board.
Yeah, it just shows
Not
that Og
to-
people were not loyal to their shit.
Not to beat on a dead dragon, but
I'm gonna load up Evoke Kong.
Evoke Kong? Oh god.
Evoke Kong, oh no.
Let's do a 3 Evoker Mythic Plus and see where it goes.
I tried to find the tweet that girl sent to Ellesmere so I could quote it. I couldn't find it. Sadly, I really wish I could. But
what a good little moment on Twitter. For those who don't know, you want to recap it real quick, Io?
Yeah, so Ellesmere, if you're a Holy Paladin person, you know who he is. If you don't, he's pretty much
we
the
talked
top,
about him last week on the podcast, didn't we?
Yeah, it's a couple times, I think. He's kind of the top Holy Paladin content creator. If you're learning the spec, he's a great
Never heard of him.
He's a great resource.
He's the mega set for Holy Paladins.
Yep. And someone tweeted at him, hey, what are we feeling? Because, it's like, oh, how do I feel about Holy Paladin? Let's ask Ellesmere. And then he answered, it's like, oh, we're great in Mythic Plus, okay in Raid. And she literally just posted his tweet verbatim just as she wrote it.
She started with, I'm feeling pretty good about Holy Pally, and then literally posted his thing without any like it just as if she said it.
Yeah,
and then
great.
For the next 24 hours, every single person on Twitter was just trying to find a way to work that statement into their like tweets.
That's pretty so fucking funny.
Copy pasta, yeah. But I mean, it is right though. I mean, it feels pretty good Mythic Plus right now. And then I'll have to see in Raid this week if it feels any better.
So overall, you're happy with the spec? You're feeling much better?
Yeah, I think. And I think it's one of those things where they took a lot of the power out of the passive and are putting it more into the buttons you actually press, which is nice. Yeah, and I feel like I'd rather see them kind of just do that kind of slowly and get it to a good spot instead of tune it to like the high heavens and then have to bring us down to Og's level.
Yeah, so overall you had an aura buff of 3, but you also had your WOG 20%, Light of Dawn 20%, Holy Prism AoE 30%, Holy Prism single 50%, and a little damage. Okay.
Yeah, damage is a little bit higher, still not the higher end, but it feels a lot better. What's really awesome is now I feel like with Beacon of Virtue, that affix, I don't even care if people are dispelling it. I just send Divine Toll, throw out a couple Word of Glories, everyone's
it's
gone.
It's so good.
Easy, yeah.
It's broken.
Okay. Anything else about class tuning? I know Holy Priests are a little, well, everyone says Holy is impossible to play full stop, but I disagree. I've seen some good ones out there. Lithian, anything you want to talk about tanks? I don't think you guys got touched, did you?
The
Death Knight doesn't get touched.
Prot Warrior got nerfed.
Yeah, damage wise though. I mean, and I think that was the right thing to do because they were doing insane amounts of damage.
It was warranted.
I don't know enough about it to really go too in depth to it, but I'm a little surprised to see the Shadow Priest nerf with the 4%. That seemed a little.
It's raid tuning, and they were doing really well in raid.
They're killing it. Yeah, they'll kill it on single target.
Also, only 3%. Like, relax.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
You're fine.
Well, and again, I think that I like the light touches they're taking to like. I don't want Mistweavers. I don't want Windwalkers. I don't want Fire Mages. I don't want any of those classes to just find their spec the next morning in the grave, right?
Yeah, of course. Nobody wants that.
I'm okay with fire and whatever the specs are. I'm okay with them being the meta. I just don't want them to be so obviously the meta that I feel I'm not going to get into keys as an arcane or yada yada yada, right? Which
I mean, the goal is the goal is what they did with Hunter, whereas like in the Hunter Discord, they're saying everything's about even, play what you want. That's the goal for every spec, I think. So
Yep, yep.
They haven't changed Blood Death Knight in so long that every week I'm waiting for what they're gonna do, and hopefully they do nothing because it's perfectly fine. Don't touch it.
We have some aggro issues. I mean,
no.
obligatory BeeGate
the aggro
mention.
issues are my skill issues.
Building anticipation.
Everything is fine. Everything is fine.
Can you make a soundbite every time BeeGate is mentioned before we?
It'll be like, did you guys ever listen to the Strike Force 5 podcast about?
No.
Like, it was the 5 late night hosts who did a podcast to just raise money for their team when they did the strike. And every time they said Strike Force 5, a lightning strike would hit, and it drove the hosts insane.
We're gonna have to workshop that.
BeeGate, just Nicolas Cage. The bees, not the bees.
Something like that, yeah.
All right, let's talk a little bit about raid. So unannounced raid tuning for all difficulties, and actually it was the 3 bosses we were going up against. One-Armed Bandit, Muggsy, and Galliwix have been nerfed on normal and heroic. We've only seen One-Armed Bandit ourselves, and we'll get back to that in a second. But also some mythic. Oh, sorry, there were no actual One-Armed Bandit nerfs on.
On mythic. Okay.
This is important. We'll get to that in a second. But there were some nerfs on Muggsy, some damage reduction. It looks like you can see here that they saw things that made him believe that there were some other nerfs, but that doesn't seem to be the case. But we'll talk about our raid right now. So we're on One-Armed Bandit. We were progressing as of Thursday when we recorded the episode right after raid. We had got it down to about 15%, if I remember correctly.
No, it was 30.
No, it was 15% because we hero at 30 when we go, right?
Oh, maybe you're right.
You got it down pretty low.
Yeah. I already closed the window, Scrap. You told me I couldn't pull up our Race to World last heroic raid.
I think I don't want the guild drama.
No,
none of them watch, but
I was gonna say you were safe and sound this Monday. No one noticed.
No one noticed yet.
There was some, so let's just go over the nerfs real quick. Foul Exhaust, which is as a healer, I did it last week, and I know Ioski has a lot of experience with it. Is actually really stressful at like the wrong times, especially. It does
like it's always coming out when there's a mechanic or something. So it's like, geez.
But it doesn't seem to have affected us because it only does low group sizes. The assistant's health has been reduced. I think they went down really quickly if we were focusing correctly on them.
They did.
The premium dynamite booties, which were the I think the big ones, and the fiery dynamite booties were reduced. Let's talk about those all the dynamite booties really quickly.
I'm getting PTSD.
So
let's talk about what?
Let's talk about personal responsibility.
Personal responsibility.
We had said this last week, or maybe the week before, I don't know, about how I was feeling pretty good because we had just come out of what is it? The Bunk Junker is the trash one.
And we just killed it. We
were really worried about the personal responsibility, people rolling balls, blah blah blah, right? And it went
Wait,
well.
hold on, pause break. Play the clip of me rolling the ball.
1 bomb down.
Who's getting
one bomb next to the boss.
By the boss.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it. Oh, I missed it.
You don't have enough. You don't have enough.
I have enough.
You got it circles around the bomb. Bro, I don't ever want to hear you talking shit about me not hitting a bomb, bro.
I don't ever want to hear her talk anything about driving in the game.
Oh my god, dude.
Levels of Three Stooges.
Real quick, before we go into this, I will say the reclear this week was really smooth up until this boss. I think everyone did a great job.
No, it was smooth after Scrap's debacle.
We did have a donkery on Bunk Junker because of Scrap.
I'm just saying, when you're panicked and everybody's counting on you and the turn radius is not as good as you were hoping, you have a moment.
Literally, you just Benny Hilled it around the mod.
I'm just saying, other people were on balls. They could have helped me out.
We'll edit the video in there on that.
Okay, it'll be in here.
But we got to One-Armed Bandit, and I was like, dude, we're gonna kill this. Everyone got a little more gear. We had made some tweaks to the strat, just minor ones, but ones that I thought would have made a big enough difference. And we keep having trouble with the dynamite booty, which is, again, I think the one that is the most chaotic of them. For those who don't remember, and I might be misconstruing the name of which one it is, but when you put the, what is it, the flame in the coin one in?
I believe it's Flaming coin and bomb, maybe.
Maybe
Yeah,
flame and
it's-
bomb.
Oh.
Yeah. Either
Yeah,
way, when you put in a combo,
later.
you'll get I think 7 or 6 little ads, tiny ads, that if they reach their targeted mob, they will blow up and effectively almost certainly wipe the raid.
They fixate, they're not CCable, and if the person they're fixated on dies, or immunes or whatever, they'll refixate.
Yes.
So it's brutal.
We last week when we were progressing
Wow.
this, we had made progress to get past that point over several times, right? This week,
Yeah,
we
we
just
got past
came
it a couple
running in and looked great. That part would come up and someone would get hit. And then someone would get hit. And then someone would get hit and get hit and get. I think we're
Honestly,
at 30 pulls now.
if one person would get hit or something, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But there's a heal absorber that goes out at the exact same time. That is what fucks it, I think, because the one person dies and it just snowballs.
Well, yeah, because then another person dies who had the fixate, and then it refixates, and then somebody who was in melee slamming on it gets immediately killed. It literally, it's insane how instantly we wipe on this.
Dude, nobody should get hit by it, man.
No, and we cleaned that up by the end of the night. I think the melee were getting a little greedy.
No,
Well, the last
because here's
couple
what
pulls,
happens.
we got
Then
deeper in.
coins come out and everyone gets run over it because we're all trying to funnel the ads into one spot so we can kill them really quickly, right? But they get rolled over, which in fairness in the chaos I could understand a little bit. But then the coins hit the back wall and there's this huge gray or brown circle, and then everyone gets hit by that. And I'm just
I got hit by that once, Frank.
I did too. I did too.
You're calling me out
because the heal absorb went out and I didn't realize it slows you down, and I would have just blinked it, but I didn't put it together fast enough.
It's just a little bit chaotic that everything's
a lot going
happening.
on, visually busy.
But that's not a hard mechanic. It's not.
No.
Like the sticks bunk junker stuff, I thought was way harder to manage the idea of not rolling over an ad by accident, because at least in the trash rolling, the argument is, well, I couldn't stop, and things just I panicked and veered and blah blah blah, right? Now, granted, we have hit those bombs and it hurts, but it doesn't wipe the raid. So
yeah, you get a little bit of leeway.
Right? But I'm so frustrated. And then I heard Ioski has some recommendations on how we can improve this fight.
And Ioski almost got his head bit off.
No. I'm joking. But like right now, our strat is, because I'm not worried about damage just yet. Now, granted, there may be a point where we have to change that decision. But we can't do the mechanics. It doesn't matter whether we get them to 80% or 30% with whatever damage we have. We're not getting past 80%.
I will say, I didn't realize that when the coins first come out from the boss, you also get the buff there. I thought you only get it when you throw it back.
No.
So
see, that's what I'm saying. We need to make that clear, because I think a lot of people aren't getting the buff. Like, I'm trying to get the buff every time, but I'm seeing people go really far away from the coins. Like, you gotta get that buff, dude.
We really aren't too far off from
we're fine.
getting close to 30%. So I mean, if people would at least stand next to them when they come out, that'd probably make a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
It
I don't know.
It eludes me why we're having trouble with this. And I feel like I'm being jinxed. Now, Scrap put a curse on me to not get any of my gear. That curse has backfired and hit all three of the team members.
Don't fucking throw my curse under the bus, because that curse worked for a good week and a half. Like,
when
and
I
it
wasn't
was funny.
playing?
No. When you were playing and you couldn't get gloves or something, and you were trying to under your breath, you're
I
like,
got a catalyst charge. What do I use it on?
I had
history. I remember.
The only thing I was farming week one
You had champion and not heroic.
was a ring out of Dark Flame, right?
Dude, no, you had a champion piece, not heroic piece, and you had a catalyst charge, and you were like, oh, I don't want to use it, and I haven't gotten the heroic piece.
Well, yeah, but that wasn't
the curse. It wasn't pants, and you kept saying, well, it's not
It's a
pants.
pants curse.
Okay,
Scrap, you are whitewashing this narrative.
No, I'm not.
Whitewashing.
I want you to know that my curses are good, and they should be afraid
Scrap, because I had 2-piece at the time. There was no reason for me to worry about catalysting it, because why would I worry about 3-piece? I would have ended up breaking my 2-piece from last season. It had nothing to do with the curse. I didn't care.
He was playing it cool. He was like, curse doesn't bother me. I'm just like simply so.
Someone play the BeeGate sound, because this is going to lead in directly to why my problem with BeeGate is.
So bad.
If you guys can't tell, Scrap gaslights the shit out of you.
That's not you're gaslighting me, because I remember you specifically complaining.
Who?
You specifically complaining that you only had a champion gloves or something. You couldn't catalyst it, and I was like, my curse, it worked.
It worked.
Not for long, but worked.
What makes Styx Bunk Junker, not to get off your guys' topic,
I think
but
good we get off this.
what makes Styx Bunk Junker, I think, easier for personal responsibility is they turn the personal responsibility into a little fun game. You know, you get on a ball, you get a little silly. So what they need to do is when you get fixated, they need to do like some like Sonic the Hedgehog, like you're drowning, like dun 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 dun, and just like
we can make a weak aura that does that.
Make you run away.
Yeah, it's not hard to make a weak aura.
Yeah.
But
We've had to do that before.
And I'm going to make one. It's going to, you know what? I'm going to add your Sonic's
love it.
Running out of breath thing. And I'm going to just put a picture of my face. All right. I'm going to take that picture of me looking really fucking serious, staring right at you and just going,
I want that weak aura.
Fucking do it. Okay. Just fucking do it right.
I don't need it.
It's not hard. Okay.
You know how for the fixate it puts eyes above your head? Can you make it your eyes?
I don't think it actually puts eyes above your head. It just draws.
No, it does.
No,
yes,
everyone else gets a yellow line and you get a purple line. That's all you get, I think.
No, what are you talking about? You get eyes. You get a line. You get eyes above your head. You
I'm not certain of
100%
it,
do, which is why I was shocked that people couldn't see it.
I don't use
I'm
DBM.
notating the 100% Scrap just claimed.
You had to listen to me. I'm bullshit, but
100,
DBM also tells you
100% Scrap.
Oh, DBM also tells you coins are coming,
well,
and it also tells you
bigwigs, but
whatever.
Bigwig says lines.
It tells you all kinds of stuff that everybody ignores, so that's not the thing.
Well,
and I will say the personal.
That's why
we have
a
different problem.
It's my job to repeat what DBM's trying to tell you.
Yeah, Frank is just the DBM for everybody.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's
and we need it.
I just go back.
Some of us need it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you don't have to do anything because you're the tank. You just put your slime on the wall and then run back in. Who cares?
My
that.
frustration on this boss is when we get the pylons, and sometimes I feel like we're going too long without a pylon, but other than that, I don't care. I deal with it. I'm not worried about it.
Right.
Well,
off taking easiest job in the
we're
raid.
not the only ones frustrated with this boss. Wow, Scrap.
Yeah.
digging your heels in. Okay.
I was trying to get everybody riled up.
We're not the only ones having trouble with this boss, just not on Mythic, but so only 30 guilds have killed one-armed bandit on Mythic in the first 21 days, making it the hardest 6 boss ever made. Now granted, there's two ways I want to frame this. One is this even a problem? Like, I know there are people out there who are going to be upset about it, of course, but I think they're going to be the very, very few. Most people seem to be having a lot of fun. The fact that the progression going into the first 5 bosses, at least, has been pretty good, and no one's like having to do insane amounts of pulls to get past stuff, especially after they nerfed a lot of the problem bosses from the Race to World First. But One-Armed Bandit has not been nerfed, much if at all, and it's a wall. People are getting upset by this, okay? And I'm going to talk about some other drama between Max and Preach in just a second around just what Preach being he, is really upset and thinks this is like negligence from Blizzard and that they should be embarrassed for their incompetence, blah, 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 okay?
What?
Yeah. Did you not watch?
So
I sent it out a little earlier today.
I missed it.
We'll get to it in a second. But here's the thing. There are people going to be out there, right? I'm going to argue that I think they're wrong, and there's a reason why. But there are going to be people out there that are going to be upset that this boss is, taking X amount of pulls, let's say 100, 200 pulls for their guild. And I want to be like, okay, but we have just started week 4. We've only had 3 vaults, right? And I don't think much of anyone has even cracked 670 eye level average, let alone the peak of where we can get most of our gear anyways. And we also have 4 or 5 more buffs that can come through in the nerfing aspect of the raid through the renown track. You know what I'm talking about? The 3%. We've only had one of those, right? And that's this week, if I remember correct. No, last week was when it came out. Yep. Is it really a problem that there's still a lot of runway left on this raid that people shouldn't be upset about not clearing it within the first, in this case, 3 weeks?
So first of all, Scrap is almost fully geared out. Number 1.
I'm done. My character is done.
By the way, who didn't hear it last week, that is complete nonsense.
It's 661. I'm really hanging it up. I'm done.
Bro, if you get AOTC and you crush Mythic in 4 weeks or 5 weeks, that doesn't feel good. I don't know.
That's negligence, yeah.
Yeah, it's gotta
you're saying
have
it's good
some
that it's
level of
slowing
difficulty.
Down, right? Yeah.
Yeah, dude, quit being baby back bitches, bro.
Like Race to World First teams
Can't wait till Growl and Dorky come after Lithium for that comment. Sorry.
I don't give a fuck. Fuck those guys.
Race to World First.
I don't even know who they are.
Corporate infrastructure, they're literally running heroic over and over again to get their guys the best gear. Like, not everyone's doing that, so
They
of
have to
course
prep
they're
15 tunes.
They're gonna literally kill the 6th boss before everyone else. It's just how it is. Like, everyone else who's doing it the pedestrian way is not going to be able to do that.
Well, hold on. Let's be clear though. There's Race to World First, right? Let's call it the top.
That's a whole different
the top
thing.
10
And
guilds.
Hall
We'll
of
just
Fame,
call it,
and then
right?
there's Hall of Fame, like
Hall
top
of Fame,
200.
top 100, right? And then there's Ioski's guild.
Yep, we'll get there.
Right?
We'll get there.
So 2 of 8 on the mythic race. Okay, I'll put it to you, and let's frame it in your guild, Ioski. By the time you get to the 6th boss, it will no longer be a gear issue. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, I think I don't know exactly too much about this boss on Mythic, but I imagine what's giving a lot of people fits is it's just the most mechanical boss in the raid. And I'm sure they'll nerf it eventually just so more people can kill it, but I'm interested to see if it's actually a situation where it does too much or if people just need a little more time to prog it out.
Yeah, and the truth is, we know what the fight's like on Heroic, and again, we're even struggling with it, but I would say we're not struggling it for reasons that are, the boss is too hard, we're struggling because we're idiots. I think, and actually I should point out, Max in the video that Preach and him are talking, or he's reacting to Preach, he does point out that the splits that they did with helpers, this boss gave him trouble on Heroic, right? And I just feel like, if we were doing Heroic raid and we were going to clear it within the first, and this is the 6th boss, so let's say within the first 5 weeks, I'd be a little disappointed that it was over so quickly.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
Now, on the inverse of that though, these top 10 guilds, top 100 guilds, so in this case the top 30 guilds, because they've gotten past it, they probably have a lot of financial concern with, paying for carries and doing mythic mount runs. Which, by the way, can I just quickly talk about this? The Race to World First finished, and Liquid, I think the day after, posted that they were beginning to take mount runs, like, Mythic, the Galliwix head mount. And take a guess. I've already told Scrap this. I know she's probably forgotten it.
I know.
Oh, you do know?
I forgot it.
Oh, okay.
No, I think I remember a number like that.
Take a guess how much money, dollars, it costs based on the token to dollar ratio from the gold that they're effectively charging. So they're charging an X amount of gold.
Was it 4,500?
It was over $4,000.
Yeah.
$4,000. Now, from what I heard, I think Max said that they spent over $1 billion gold.
Oh, to get like their gear and stuff.
To pay their helpers, to pay for everything in the augment runes. I'm sure they had augment runes for every pull. That's expensive as shit.
Oof, yeah.
They're good
all
for
that
it.
shit. Yeah, they're good for it. That's what I think of when I say, okay, so there's a group of people who have to rush to get this done, because the sooner they can start selling runs for $4,000 a piece, the sooner they can start paying back their $1 billion gold debt, right?
Yeah.
I get that. That totally makes sense. And honestly, it doesn't sound like any of the Race to World First guilds are having that concern. They're like, hey, it's fine, whatever. But it even sounds like Echo, because they lost the race and they were going to come second, they had for just a second considered, and they didn't do it, but they considered, they had a rogue that had to leave because his eye hurt. And again, this is secondhand from Preach. I'm sorry if I'm misconstruing it. And they were going to sell their 20th spot to another rogue for I think it was $200 million gold or something.
How
does someone even have 200 million gold on their characters?
No, I'm struggling to fathom what you spend 1 billion gold on.
They paid each one of their helpers based on a full run.
Yeah.
About 350,000 gold.
Okay.
Some of them per pull, on the harder bosses.
They would prorate it based on whatever. Oh yeah, and then of course harder bosses.
Jesus.
So I just put it into ChatGPT real quick. If let's say a WoW token right now gives you 250,000 gold, $20 a pop, $4,000 is 50 million gold.
Yeah, I want to say it was
use a calculator.
So how much is
I was gonna say,
billion?
That's what I did. I just used a calculator.
Yeah, a calculator doesn't lie to you. ChatGPT every now and then just lies.
It'd be hard to work out. It'd be too hard for me to work out in the component. So that's
it was an insane amount. I'd pull it up right now, but I don't want to mess with Discord because of the podcast. But yeah. So again, is this a problem? Is this something that is newsworthy? Do you think?
No.
Well,
This
I
being
think
the
it's
hardest six boss?
interesting.
Like just
Or
that there's
the
a
money.
wall. That there's a wall, and is this good?
There's
I
always
feel
a-
like this. Sorry, go on.
No, dude, this is dumb. This is
It's
dumb.
dumb. Yeah.
No,
I feel
it's
like this
not.
is just
I don't
baiting
think it's
people into getting
newsworthy.
upset.
Shut up.
It
It's
doesn't
dumb.
seem like it's an egregious wall. Like it says this is the hardest 6th boss ever
Oh,
made. But
get-
there's
we're-
other harder mid raid bosses.
Wait till they get to the
By the way,
7th boss.
How
Yeah.
how many guilds killed Kaiveza by this point in last season? That's what I'm interested to see.
Kaiveza wasn't a wall,
should
though,
it?
was-
Why
was
should
she?
it be
She was a bit of a wall.
easy?
Yeah.
How many? What I want to know is
Why-
how many was Anduin? Because I remember that was a
So,
big
but
wall.
Anduin
I'm sorry,
was
who?
probably
Who?
Yeah.
Anduin wasn't the 6th boss. He was the
Penultimate?
like 7th boss, I think.
Oh,
Right?
7th.
Out
of
so
more
they're
than
stacking
8.
it in a different order. Maybe it was the 6th boss, but that's not.
That's
the
what
point.
I think they're stacking it in a way to make this seem like it's really fucking hard. But I don't
think
know. I
it's
might be wrong. It might be really
too,
hard.
too early to say this is a problem.
Really.
And
It's not a problem.
Well, and again, like
30
I
guilds
don't think
seems
it's fair
reasonable.
for anyone to sit there and well, one, we know Gallywix is going to be super easy, so they know that the at top of the cliff is the boss in front of them after this boss.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's fair for 3 weeks in people to say, because from what I understand, the Race to World first happened. Everyone was really disappointing with the end. Of course, they should be. Blizzard fucked up. They're gonna have to acknowledge that, and I'm sure when Max interviews the devs and all that stuff, they'll press them about that. It was a mistake. It looks very clear to me that was a mistake. That's not what Preach thinks, but we'll talk about that in a second. But everyone else that's in the Hall of Fame and the people who were Mythic raiding that were stressed because the last couple of raids have been so hard that guilds have been dying as a result, has said that at least the build up to this 6th boss has been a welcome change, that they don't feel like, right, it was too much of a problem. And that may be that okay, well, this boss does suck because I don't want to have to do 200 pulls on it. But there isn't any indication that that's going to be the case just yet, that people are going to have to do 200, 300, 400, 500 pulls on this. And again, at the end of the rainbow is that Gallywix easy kill. I just feel like this is just stirring drama. Not to say that Wowhead's baiting in that sense, but it's just going to send the normies, the people who aren't even Mythic raiding, let alone, excuse me, the people like Roar and IO now, who are Mythic raiders, but I know you don't fall prey to this. That'll just be like, oh my god, this is so bullshit, Blizzard bullshit, blah blah blah. Why is this a problem? Why is this newsworthy?
It drives.
Quit being a baby back bitch, dude.
Yeah.
Suck it up and get better.
That's gonna be our shirt for BlizzCon.
Yeah,
Is that what it is, Lithium?
yeah, BlizzCon, yeah.
Yeah, dude,
Baby
let's
back
go.
bitch. I think it drives interest. I mean, we've even seen it when you talk about people love to talk about stuff they complain about. Like you talk about tier lists and people like to watch it. You complain about the raid being too hard. People love that.
Well, and
So-
I thought maybe this was okay. So let's lead into the Preach versus, not Preach versus, but the Preach reaction to the Race to World first. Okay.
Yeah, I want to kind of know what that is.
If you guys want, I'll put a link in the description of YouTube.
The description, yeah.
It's an hour and 15-minute video. We're not gonna watch any of it really because I don't have the patience to
just
find that spot.
paraphrase it because I didn't watch it.
It's hard to paraphrase, but the long and short of it is that Preach was really upset about how the race ended. Okay.
Okay.
He accused Blizzard of incompetence and said that they have fucked up so bad, and that he levies some falsities, I'll just say, about Liquid. And like, for example, Liquid had a power outage that took him out for 3 hours. And they also had the DDoS attacks, which isn't brought up in the video, but maybe it wasn't as big of a problem as they make it out to be. But like, Preach essentially discounts it, saying, no, that was a planned power outage. It's not. Max proves it in this video. It wasn't a planned power outage. And he just starts like essentially saying, I'm not angry that Echo didn't win, ... but then goes fucking irate at how Echo was handicapped by these problems, to the point where in Race to World Firsts, there's always bugs that the first 2 guilds find or whatever when they get to the bosses. And Blizzard doesn't have enough time to fix them before they continue to progress into these bosses. So they have to work around the bugs. And Preach is just like irate that there was this bug that Echo had to deal with and Liquid had to deal with. And Max just essentially says, it's like, hey, you could have watched our VOD. Any of your analysts, by the way, they pay people to analyze like the other guilds as they're running. Any of your analysts could have very quickly seen, 8 hours before you started worrying about this problem, how we dealt with the bug. and yet Preach is just losing his mind over this bug. And, you know, the reason ultimately why I think Echo ended up losing was because they took too long on Muggsy, and according to Preach, it's because of this bug. What I'm saying is, though, that it's so surprising to see even the people who were at the casts, the people who were hosting the shows, one, not acknowledge that this was clearly a mess up. He thinks this was intentional. He thinks Preach thought this was intentional, right?
He thinks that someone at Blizzard's got a thumb on the scale for who wins.
Well, he doesn't make that accusation. I think he just says like
he implies it.
No, I wouldn't even say that. Like I want to be careful because I don't want to start a war with Preach.
I'll never see it. It's fine.
Although I will say this in my opinion did not look good on Preach. He did have a follow-up video. It was a lot more tempered and, you know, more well balanced on his thought, but he also essentially accuses them of being negligent for the bugs, which again, there's always bugs, and the whole point of the NA versus Europe race problem is Europe always starts later, I think 16 hours. But if a guild gets to a boss first, they also have to essentially beta test, especially the last boss, on behalf of the guilds who aren't there yet. And in this case, Liquid was there first and was beta testing it, and they broadcast the whole thing. And Echo still didn't react fast enough. So, like, Echo lost this race. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Yet, people are losing their minds still about the difficulty of Styx Spunk Junker in Mythic, which, by the way, he was, like, nerfed to hell very quickly, and now everyone's gotten past it, no problem. And I think even there was a lot of nerfs done to, what's the boss that has, like, the conveyor belts?
Sprocket, Lock and Stock.
Right?
Yeah.
That boss was somewhat tough. I wouldn't say very tough comparatively to the Spunk Junker, but he was nerfed pretty heavily too. And to the point where now, like, they could just ignore a mechanic that was the deadliest mechanic on it because of, I guess, like, they nerfed his health. And yet, people at this highest level are still losing their mind about the difficulty of the race, despite the fact that everyone acknowledges Gallywix is such a fuck up on how they handle the tune.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like, what am I missing here?
It just seems...
Go on.
It just seems like when there's not a lot of excitement behind the race, people now have to manufacture content to talk about, right? Because right now they might still be polling Gallywix and doing like 400 polls, and now they're just like, oh crap, we got to talk about something. Oh, people are upset the race was easy. I'm just gonna make a video about how Blizzard didn't turn on the secret phase triggers.
So upset when he made this video.
I think it's hard to say that like he's faking being upset because like this is his life, dude. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it just goes to show that like Blizzard players or WoW players at the top and at the middle and the bottom are all kind of similar. They're all kind of angry people who complain about the game. You know, like so that's just my take. I feel bad. I mean, it's his life. It's not a joke, and he relies on it, like Blizzard, to make the game good in order to kind of like do his job, and feel proud of his work. You know, and
there was
if they fucked up, then
there was an amount of copium too, because he kept talking about how Echo put on such a good production that they had the highest viewer count on Twitch during the race, which is true.
They had like a whole room set up.
Well, most of the guilds did it. Method, Echo, and
I never
Liquid
watched it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it's cool. I liked it.
But he completely washes, like, okay, I'm not gonna find it, but there's a point where some dude, because they're talking about like the numbers from the broadcast, some dude comes out of this door right here, and he just gets like. He's like, you know, I don't want to. He gives me the not nerd anger and energy, but like he just gives me like the I don't know, but he gives me this energy where it's like he's like clenching his fist. He's like, oh, I'm so angry, and he talks about how they had the best viewership, but they completely neglect to talk about the fact that Liquid has their main broadcast and Max broadcasts, so they're splitting the viewership between those two channels heavily. Right?
Of course they have less,
And again, like, where is the? How does he not like acknowledge this? I'm sorry. I don't
know. I just get angry on stream. Like it happens. Like
I get angry, not on stream.
The people that do the Liquid podcast, but I mean, I love watching the Max point of view. It's really awesome getting that first person view into everything that's going on. So I don't know.
But you can see that they're having fun a lot of the time, right? Like they're goofing off a little bit here.
Yeah, it feels more like what we're actually doing, you know, and it's like, oh, he's playing the game like
bunch of nerds having a LAN party, man.
LAN party, that's why when I saw the picture of that room.
Let's be honest, guys. If we could go do one of that, like maybe not all the time because it would be very taxing and tiring, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
I would be so thrilled to go and do any you know, even if it was our guild and we were not anywhere close to progressing, but just to go
we're
like for
just
2
having
weeks
fun.
and like, hey, we're gonna go raid for 12 hours a day and we're gonna get
I love
heroic
it.
AOTC and then go home.
We hang out. We got a mini fridge. I mean, I used to do LAN
We're gonna have a
parties,
beach house.
not
It's a beach house.
infrequently.
You can
Yeah.
watch people rage quit in real life. So
Yeah,
they
yeah.
Up and leave their PC like I'm not doing keys anymore.
And so to have
Oh.
him, who again he says it's not because Echo lost, but to have someone in his position where
But it is.
he has arguably what might people would say is a dream job, right? And he got to go to, I think it was in Germany for him, and just, you know, vibe and make a broadcast and just try to make as much fun and enjoyable content as he possibly could, to come back and just be so off key about
Bitter.
what the problem is. Again, it's one thing to be bitter. I would say like it makes sense a little bit to be bitter, but he's just like
being a sore loser.
well,
Yeah.
it's not even because he wasn't even competing. He's not even like he's not a loser. He's not a winner. He's not
he is supporting. He's supporting his team, and his team lost. It's like when the 49ers lose, I get upset. I'm sad about it.
Yeah, but this is like
It's my team.
this is like Tony Romo going home and starting a Twitch stream and be like, motherfuckers, I can't believe this is such bullshit. The Chiefs had the refs call this, and then all the while you go back and look, and the Chiefs actually, the refs didn't do anything this time. They were actually not like a problem.
Yeah.
Very
Sorry
weird
for the
energy
football
coming from
analogy.
this video.
Can I make a sports thing
Yes,
too?
please.
Oh
He's
my
like
god.
the Ronaldo of being upset.
No, I knew you were gonna say that.
He's
I
the
knew you were gonna
Ronaldo,
say
bro.
that.
Jokes on the podcast. Crap.
Yeah.
Sports
For those who
people
don't know,
will They know
Ronaldo,
Ronaldo.
I made a comment in our podcast channel calling Technique the Ronaldo of make polls in M+. And you'll see why later because he's referencing me and my polls. We'll get to that in a bit.
BeeGate.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. I had to get my soapbox there because I was just
do
watching this
people
getting
know who
irate.
Ronaldo is?
Yes, people who know.
No, people know who Ronaldo is.
I don't know. I don't know
Ronaldo
who
might
Ronaldo
be
is.
more known in the world than like, you know, probably half the people you can name right now.
Than Preach,
Oh
than
my
Max, even more well known than
Nobody
them.
knows who those people are. I don't even know who those people are.
I don't know who people are.
Their
Shout out
family
to
doesn't
the-
even know how famous they are.
Yeah.
Shout out
Oh
to
my
the UK listener, football.
Yeah,
The
Football.
football player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
We know we have
Ronaldo.
like
Dude.
random
Oh,
people
Fucking
from
soccer.
from Poland who watch our show. That's it.
Yeah.
It's soccer, bro.
Not Russia
Okay.
though.
Well, I had to get my soapbox there. I'm sorry. I had to rant. It just I was so taken aback by how
It's a weird video and it's weird energy. I don't blame you.
Well, even look at the comments are against him, dude.
Watch
Oh,
it.
wait, this is Max watching
Yeah, Max
it.
is. They're
Okay,
gonna be
never mind.
biased there.
Okay, I thought
Hey,
it was
And I do want to say this. I want to give credit, and I'm sorry to essentially. I don't want to be. Anyways, Max is one of the best streamers for WoW, in my opinion.
Oh, you don't want to fillet him. I get it.
Well,
he
I
doesn't want
wasn't
to
gonna
simp.
say- I was gonna be
That's what you're trying to
crass.
He
get
doesn't
around.
want to simp.
But no, but I do want to say it is so astonishing how well he handles this video. Like, I don't know if you agree, Ayaski.
I agree 100%. He could have easily have just been like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking. He could have easily thrown him under the bus, but the way he watched the video and he was even talking to his chat
Yeah,
about how like, no, I genuinely think he's upset. Like he was actually trying to hear out what he had to say. He didn't always agree with everything and he gave reasons to contradict some of the things Preach was saying, but I think a lesser person would have made a completely different
I
and
would
worse
have.
video.
I would have bit
Yeah.
hard on this video.
We're doing it right
Being
now.
like, what the fuck are you talking about? There was a planned outage in the entire city of Malibu. Like, what?
See,
But-
Scrap, we
Oh, wow.
did a key instead of watching the
the
videos.
thing
Yeah,
that
we
really
did.
stands,
Thank
really
goodness.
stands out to me after all this is they had that power outage and Echo killed Sprocket before they killed it and had a high level advantage going into the next week and they still couldn't beat
Yeah,
Liquid.
that's
even though they
something
had
that
the
really
time on
keeps rubbing Max the wrong way. Is every time he says that Echo was dominating week 2 or whatever, or week 1, whatever it was.
Yep.
And he's just like, dude, come on, man. Like, we had DDoS attacks, we had power outages, and on top of that, like, it wasn't that much of an advantage because the next morning we were right back there where we needed to be, you know?
You know, this was whoever got to Galiox first, probably killing it the same day. But it seems like that's just how it was.
My favorite part of the video is where Preach ranks like the difficulty of each boss. And Max is like, there's no way he's going to say that Galliwix is third. And then he says Galliwix is third. And he just pauses it. He goes, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
clearly
He's too out
after
of
an
touch.
hour, he just lost his mind. Anyways, okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of DDoS attacks, all right, we are a little surprised to see that there was some changes in Blizzard's tune based on some DDoS attacks. So there were DDoS attacks in the raid. They seem to have affected Liquid mostly. Rumors were that they were targeting Liquid. Was Europe trying to? Okay. So whatever, no big deal. And then this past week, what was it, like over the weekend? I think it was Saturday night. There was a DDoS attack which happened during the OnlyFangs Blackwing Lair raid. Now, it's speculation to say that these were purposeful, right? That they were like to essentially target Blackwing Lair, OnlyFangs, I mean. However, Blizzard, acknowledged that there was a DDoS attack, and there's some videos here, but like they were panicking. Yeah.
Before we get too into this, I might be stupid, but how does one do a DDoS? Like, you just get like a bunch of your friends to log in the game? Like, I don't understand it.
Lithium, you probably be better.
Lithium, can you give me, because I know like what happens, but I'm not familiar with like, how likely it is that somebody. Yeah, but I don't know how likely it is that somebody would actually DDoS OnlyFangs. Like, can one person do it?
They would be DDoSing Blizzard and the Warcraft servers, and it would affect everybody, right? But it happens. But it happens at a very specific time when these folks are doing their raid, and it causes a bunch of disconnects. And all they're doing is flooding. They're creating a botnet full of little bots that are flooding traffic into the servers, which causes the servers to lose their connection.
Is this something a small amount of people could do, or would it have to be a large amount?
One person can do it.
Could do it. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Is this like
that's the answer to my question.
They just need to be tighter on security? Like how could and obviously without going too deep into it, because we don't need to have a whole discussion.
No, I think people would be interested.
I think it's interesting. Yeah.
Well, you can mitigate DDoS attacks in a lot of different ways. I don't know how Blizzard has their stuff set up, but obviously whatever exposure they have to the internet, it allows for these botnets to create these DDoS attacks and cause people to get disconnected, because it happens often. So
yeah,
I could fix it for them. It's gonna cost them though.
No, and I think it's fair to say that there's probably attempts at DDoSes frequently. We just never notice it. But then there are some successful ones, and some very talented people maybe are better at it than others. And so, like it slips through the gates, and it's like a seatbelt, right? I mean, I'm sure there's tons of analogies Lithium could come up with where it's like, security and even antivirus and all that fun shit. It can never guarantee protecting against something like that. And if someone really wants to get in and they're well trained enough, they can get it, right? They can do something to cause harm.
Right. That's kind of what I was asking, because I want to know if people are speculating, is this a DDoS attack or not? Like, if it was something that had to be like very organized and performed by a lot of people, I'd be like, okay, like why would a bunch of people do that? But if it could be done by like one or two people, I'm like, oh, maybe they're onto something.
It could be done. I mean, it could be done in a coordinated fashion. It could be done by one person. It could be done in so many different ways. But, if you're running any type of infrastructure, if your infrastructure is being DDoSed, so they can call it out and say, yeah, this is a DDoS attack, and it's pretty evident, it's pretty clear.
Is that what they did? They said, hey, it was a DDoS attack? Cool. Interesting.
Tweeted,
okay, you can start the story now.
So the long and short of it is there was a DDoS attack. A lot of people in OnlyFangs were killed. And it wasn't just OnlyFangs. Just a lot of guilds. A lot of people were affected by this, okay? And I think in our chat, Ioski, you had said on Sunday or maybe Monday, you said, hey, do you think that Blizzard's going to do anything about this? Are they going to, revert, blah, blah, blah?
Yeah.
And I told you... Sorry, go on.
Oh, no, Soda had posted a thing that's saying if, OnlyFangs is probably over, because he didn't expect them to hold tight on it, and he expected them to hold tight on their typical policy. So yeah, I had brought it up because I knew Scrap might have something to say about it because she has a 60. So,
that's all. I haven't used it, but I mean that I understand. Like, if I knew there was a chance that I could get my character back, like if they had a policy that was like, hey, if you get like disconnected, there's a chance you get your character back. If I was dying, I'd be fucking pulling every cord out of the wall, which I understand is probably what they're trying to prevent, is like people trying to fight against the game mechanic, which is that if you die, like it's you're done. by not like Frank, you lost a character to a disconnect.
Yes, but that was
Your only
Spectrum's-
character.
That was,
yeah,
that was
yeah, but
Spectrum's
I'm
fault,
just
not-
saying, like that was unfair that happened to you, you
Yeah.
know. And this happened on a very large scale. So I mean, they were targeting OnlyFangs, but like I don't know how many people play Hardcore Classic right now.
They could have been
but,
just
like
targeting anyone doing Blackwing Lair because the raid had just come
Yeah.
out.
But
Yeah.
everybody, even people not in Blackwing Lair, are getting affected. Like we were playing retail and affected by it,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So it's like I'm in the middle of a fucking kobold cave, and there's OnlyFangs people getting targeted, and now I'm dead. My character's dead, and I was like level 55 or something. I'd be
Yeah.
upset, you know.
Yeah. So I told you, I asked you when you said it, I said, no, I think Blizzard, they made it very explicitly clear under no circumstances would they do something about
Yep.
it. And then, what was it? Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday, I think it was. They said, hey, recently we've experienced unprecedented DDoS attacks impacting many of our services, including the hardcore realms, with a singular goal of disrupting players' experiences. So again, it looks like they're under the impression that this was intentional to do something about hardcore. As we continue to work further to strengthen our resilience, we're taking steps to resurrect player characters that were lost as a result of these attacks. And effectively what they say is, you know, we feel like this was an intentional malicious effort, and we believe the severity of it warrants a different response. So, in the future, Blizzard may elect at our sole discretion to revive hardcore players that perish in a mass event that we deem inconsistent with the integrity of the game, such as a DDoS attack. It does look like they're changing their stance. Now, when I first read this, I said, okay, good for you, Blizzard. Nice, you know, that's the right thing to do.
This deters people from doing DDoS attacks to fuck with OnlyFangs. It's like, oh, it's not going to work,
Sure.
you know?
Sure, but
I
there's
don't
the
think
other
it
side of the
deters
coin to
anybody.
this. So, Lithian, I saw you make a face. What did you have something you wanted to say?
Now, I don't think it's going to deter any DDoS attacks,
I don't
but
either.
but I do think that they set a precedence and they open up the floodgates for
People to
800
complain.
tickets a day.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And they didn't even explain how they're deciding what to res. I assumed that like it'd be like, okay, from 5 p.m. to, you know, midnight when they had it under control, let's just say. Anyone that was killed then gets resurrected, right?
I think that would be the easiest way to do it, is just say, hey, once we recognize that during this frame of time, people couldn't log in and we had an issue for an hour or two or whatever. If you died, we don't care how, you're back.
Yep,
You're back
yeah.
in. Like, because then you don't have to deal with any tickets. Some people get their characters back really lucky. That's great. They want to play the game again now. It's fun, you know, like who cares?
So the other side of the coin to this, though, was did Blizzard do this because OnlyFangs was impacted? And OnlyFangs is the thing that keeps hardcore realms alive right now.
I don't think they even need to be.
Publicity.
Yeah, I don't even think they even need to be like ashamed of that. Like, it's like, yeah, like a lot of people have brought this to our attention because a lot of people complained, and that it's a huge publicity and blah 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 and whatever. Yeah, like but I think in the future, if they have a big DDoS attack, like if that maybe it's targeted at retail and it affects Classic, they do have an obligation to kind of like honor this. You know?
The issue is if it was us doing it with our guild and we got DDoS and everybody died and we were all sad, do you think they would have made this change?
No, they definitely wouldn't have. But
Yeah, 'cause nobody cares.
I'm hoping that because they set this precedent, that even if there's just like any kind of DDoS, even if it's not targeting anybody, they're like, hey, we got DDoS, 2 hours of people get their characters back, you know? Like frequently, like every time it happens.
I mean, there have been situations in the past where trolls have made videos of them wiping the entire raid in AQ, and Blizzard and we're not.
Well,
going to do anything
that's
about
not
that.
Blizzard's fault. Like,
Well,
Blizzard
no, it's
didn't
not.
do
No,
that.
yeah,
you know?
Yeah, but you could
exactly,
argue
but-
it's not their fault they're getting DDoS other than being big, you know?
Well, that they're
Yeah.
supposed to. There's a an expectation that they have infrastructure to prevent that.
I don't know the answer. If
No.
OnlyFangs didn't
I agree.
exist, there's a possibility that enough people still would have been like, hey, like no one's gonna play this. And I mean, I don't know how the resources that go into running the hardcore server, so they might have did it anyways. But I definitely think that OnlyFangs definitely brought it to the masses and got it, and definitely ensured it was gonna get done. I don't know if it would have definitely gotten done otherwise, but I don't know that it wouldn't have either.
Yeah, but that's a good point to Scrap's call out, is that okay, so I don't think it needs to be, we don't need to be as not naive, but we don't need to be assuming that they did this just because of OnlyFangs, right? I'm sure there are a lot of other guilds that were impacted by it, blah blah blah, right? But what if OnlyFangs was the victim of a single person coming into, what's the next raid coming out after this? AQ40 or whatever.
Oh,
And I
dude,
think AQ has a couple of bosses that could easily go sideways from
they
one
would
person.
fucking love that. The content would be
Yeah,
fire.
I was
Like,
gonna say that they would
yeah,
be
they'd
living
milk the shit out of that.
forever. Yeah.
The thing is that
So you
getting
don't think
kicked from the game.
they'd intervene?
Oh,
No,
I don't know.
I hope not. I think they would be stoked to have something like that happen because, like, them getting kicked from the game, like, yeah, that gets some clicks, but that's not good content. That's just sad.
Yeah.
But if some fucking legendary troll infiltrates and is like
YouTube
becomes
videos
people's
galore.
brothers and friends and thousands of hours streaming and got in here just to fuck, I mean, that would be Leroy Jenkins, dude. Like, that would be
Oh my
Leroy
God.
Jenkins too.
Imagine
That guy would be a legend.
Imagine he at 30 minutes before the raid, he uploads a YouTube video that goes
Yeah.
live right when the thing starts. If
Yes.
it's like
Luigi
manifesto it,
Mangione
and,
did.
and someone's
Dude,
like,
I
"Oh
would-
my God, wait,
Yeah.
guys, don't go in there, don't go in there."
They
pull
would
the
make
boss
him
and
an
it's like,
they would make him an NPC in retail. Like, I'm telling you, that is so fucking cool, man.
God.
And
the
then it
absurdity
would
of
turn
this scenario.
OnlyFangs. It would literally turn OnlyFangs, like, going forward into a fucking game of werewolf. They'd always be afraid that there was like a traitor like in their midst, and
Oh,
who's
who's
the
the
fucking
traitor?
Oh
traitor?
my God.
Yeah,
Who's the werewolf?
this would be fucking amazing content. And if this does happen, I want to, like, call back
Scrap.
to this
We need
moment that
to.
we're
Yeah,
talking
we
about
need
it.
to. We need to make you a content creator. So then the next version
Yeah,
of
we need
OnlyFans
to
happens.
get
Yeah,
into it,
actually-
right? Hopefully they don't watch
I'll-
this. But
Like, I'll stream to if I could get into OnlyFangs, because I watched like Jimmy's videos. I don't know what his actual name is. You know Jimmy?
Yeah.
The guy
The guy who.
he's
Yeah.
yes, he put out another one recently. I love his videos. It looks so
Oh
fun.
my
Everybody's
God.
RPing, people have like silly character voices. Like, I love that stuff. So I would stream to play OnlyFangs.
Cool.
All right. Well, let's move on because we've got a topic that I'm worried is going to eat.
We're
up
running
4
out
hours
of time on
yeah.
BeeGate, dude.
Real quick.
We don't need to
So
talk
with the
about
tuning
BeeGate.
passes again, just to show you again the tuning passes. Boom. Cool. All right. Let's see how things have progressed for. This is last week. This is
There's
the most popular.
Still a
specs.
million rep paladins.
Okay.
Yep.
What do you think has changed? What do you think is like drastically changed based on the?
It's definitely jumping way up after their 15% buff.
Who is?
Og, dude.
Og. Okay, so they're right down
At
here.
least they're at least increasing by 15%.
it looks less
So-
actually.
So 15% of this little bar means that they'll still be at this little spot. Do you think they go? How high did you
That's
think
a
they go?
joke.
How high do they go,
15%
Scrap?
is nothing.
Nowhere.
Nowhere, because the 15% of nothing is nothing.
Okay. Well, this is what this week looks like so far. Og has now leapfrogged. Oh no, never mind. I saw it earlier. I thought it was
I
higher.
was like, no shit. I really.
I misconstrued it with preservation of ink when I saw it earlier.
My eyes like lit up. I was like, oh, like I
No,
was like,
Arcane
Yeah.
moved up a little bit.
Yeah, Arcane's
Where
no
am I?
longer in the
Moved up.
dumpster.
wait,
Only
where did
because
I?
Affliction got dumped.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey,
did
I bumped
Affliction
up a
get
little bit.
they didn't get
No,
nerfed.
F's not on there.
Demonology
Emo.
did.
Mm.
Oh,
don't
maybe
see
because
Affliction.
Emo got buffed F. Like, fuck you. Like, They
But
didn't
yeah,
do
it.
no major shakeups. Okay, I will show you that this is the spec diversity. Now here's the problem: when we look at this so early in the week, and again, this is a Thursday. No, sorry, Wednesday.
wait,
not even 2 days
When's
ago.
the bottom and
Wednesday.
when's the most recent one? Is it the
The
top?
top? Yeah.
Top.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
It's so unfair to say this because like the people who are pushing aren't pushing yet.
Yeah, but the
But-
fire mage being cut in half, dude. You guys have had donkey ass fire mages in your keys, right? Like, I'm sure people
Yeah,
are
we-
taking them
We
less.
put them in our tier list as like
Yeah.
avoid all mages, full
Yeah.
stop. Right?
It looks like people are switching from fire mage to frost because frost has a bigger
To BM
little
Hunter?
gap.
To BM
No, no, no.
Hunter?
Well, yeah, but look, there's a little like the frost bar got marginally bigger. They're just
Is
like,
that
oh,
the,
dude,
is that
I
the?
can't.
Are you sure that's the frost bar?
Yeah,
could be
I'm
the
sure 'cause
arcane
the
bar.
arcane one
Look,
is.
I think in fairness, this might not necessarily be because again, we've gotten
It's
the
not
average of a
accurate. I
10
don't think it's
key,
accurate.
right?
Yeah, it's not accurate yet.
This
Um,
isn't updated enough yet.
People
but
haven't pushed yet, but
I have.
it is nice seeing a diversity of tanks at least to start with. Again, this is the
wow,
everyday
huge
player.
change.
The
Yeah.
everyday
It'll
player
end.
is getting their healers and their tanks in, right?
Yeah, it'll end similar to the second week there. Probably.
You think
Interesting. I'm
you'll think you'll
interested.
continue to see this trend?
Oh yeah.
No, I don't think a fire mage could jump up. I think it's gonna stay down because
All right.
this is a lot of pugs. Like, this isn't just people pushing. Like, this is everybody
I-
doing keys, and I
I'm
don't want to fire
telling
mage my
ya.
fucking key. Let me tell you.
I mean, it doesn't matter what you want.
Well, I do a lot of keys every week, so I'm putting a dent in this. I
control the number of rep paladins.
I have my finger on the pulse of this whole scene.
You just
tried to create a group full of fucking
2 survival hunters. I did do that.
I'm impressed that disc this week is down by 30%, and Resto Shaman's
got a little
gone
bit
up
Holy
by
bumped up. Yeah.
Look at the key level. It's still early, man.
Well, the disgruntled holy priests are coming in hoping that it feels better, but I don't think they're gonna think so.
No. Well,
Yeah.
holy isn't. Somebody was trying to articulate the complexities around holy, and I didn't care because I don't know. I don't play.
Yeah, don't
holy,
talk to me about
so-
healers. I don't want to know.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about it.
Yep.
But
Ow. What is this DPS?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Balance
Steve.
getting
Rip
a lot of
BM
representation
hunters.
on Holy, still getting Ret,
Ooh.
the highest, of course. Fire
Dude.
Mage still has a lot of Fire Mages, though.
Holy
You
was,
passed Arcane or Frost
Unholy
Mage,
pumps,
okay.
man.
dude, Holy Paladin was like bottom 2 last week, I think. So it's nice to see us up there a bit now.
This is just in DPS.
DPS,
Yeah. But
You
still,
still-
I mean, it's better. A nice jump up there.
Though.
These don't have.
falling
This
a little
isn't
bit.
that many.
All right, Lith,
people,
this is
though.
what I'm talking about, man. Right here. This is what I'm talking about.
Jesus Christ.
We're talking
is
about
why-
this, Lith.
This is why you don't hold
Look at
threat,
the
because
look at the average. Look
Yeah.
at the average,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
and I'll tell you, I did above the average in that last key.
On the logs though, because maybe not on the logs.
Okay, I'm gonna take a.
This
quick
gets
sec-
adjusted for log.
No, I'm not going. I'm not
Oh.
going to go down that
No,
route.
no.
I'm
Let's
not
not
gonna
go
go
down.
that route.
We have to save
I'm gonna
time
call
for BeeGate.
bullshit.
No,
I'm
we're
gonna call
not- we're
bullshit,
getting-
but I'm not going down that route.
Edit it in.
No,
edit it in.
when I
and
say
put it
last
over his
key,
face.
when I say last key, I'm talking about the key we just did
The
before the
rookery?
podcast. Yeah,
That was the warm-up key. It doesn't count.
I did 1.6.
It matters in the prog keys that we do, Lithium.
Yeah, it only
In the
matters the
prog-
prog keys.
in the
Anyways,
in the
let-
prog
let's
keys.
not-
Well, we'll talk about it
Let's
later.
not,
talk about it.
Spoil
I think we
the
have to-
coming conversation.
But you're gonna talk about it now. We're gonna run out of
Yeah,
time.
you're right. But just real quick,
Jump into it.
what I do want to call it though, so this is week 3's key completion, and this is week 2's. There was like a minimal drop in number of keys run.
Yeah.
Normally we see like a 10 to 15% drop in key completions from this kind of week. That's what we saw in week 1 of The War Within. That's what we saw in
We're
Dragonflight.
having fun.
But
Yeah, it's a great season.
there was
Fun.
only, by my calculations, there was only maybe it was a 1.2% drop week over week, which is
What we are doing, us collectively here, maybe not Iaski, I don't know what he does, but what we're
This
doing
is
is
this
making
week's.
the red bar go up and
Is
the
that
blue
the
bar
one?
go down.
Actually, yeah. No, the other side of it too is that people are pushing a lot further into the numbers.
Well,
They're not just trying to
Yeah.
get like completions done.
Frank,
No,
that's
we're
what I
having
wanted
fun.
to speak to because this is week 3, right?
We're in week 4 right now.
Yeah.
Week 4. Okay, so I remember last season, of course you're starting at 0, right? Because it's a new
Mhm.
patch, like you just leveled and stuff. So it's a couple weeks behind maybe last
Yeah.
season. But also 12s were really fucking hard last season. Like, and they addressed that and they addressed the tuning and they tweaked it a little bit. And now at week 3 to 4, 12s feel quite attainable for us. So I think
Yeah.
that's happening everywhere, is that like people aren't stuck at 11s and quitting disgruntled. Give them a couple more weeks, they will. But like now people who are at our skill level, like average, skill level, who can like, put a little
I'm a little
elbow grease in, learn the dungeons, and
I
they
want
can
to
do a little
remind you
bit
that
more.
we finished in the top like 3%.
I'm below average,
But
100%.
Well,
you play,
what?
sure, but you get carried.
Right. But I'm just saying the
I
people
get
who I'll say the people who care about pushing, but not enough to get title. Like I think that's
Okay,
most of our podcast audience, people who like to do like 11s to 13s and stuff.
What are you talking about? Thomas likes
yeah.
delves.
Thomas likes delves. We love
Thomas
Thomas. He
likes
doesn't watch the
delves.
podcast,
But he
But
likes delves.
people like us are have their confidence still up because the 12s are not too hard. They feel attainable. We can get into it. 3K seems it's on the horizon, and then we can quit. Like that's my opinion.
I am not. So I'm not discouraged. I think I could definitely play better, and I think that as we start to do more keys together, assuming that we make it past tonight, as long as we're all doing keys together, I think we'll continually progress as we as we start to get more practice in. So
Do you
We're here
think? Do you
too.
think the 3,000 achievement that gives the key locks, they can't deplete past a certain point? Do you think that is motivating enough people to push? Like again,
I'm
week
wondering-
2 or week 3
Yeah, I'm
or whatever?
wondering if people have that already, and then they're using it
do.
to help get their guild together, and so the runs are more
they-
accessible.
they have it. I think personally, I think it makes it more fun to prog on some of these keys, because then you can run in, you can make a mistake, you can go out, reset it, and do it again. I don't know. I like it. I think I'm gonna like it when we get there.
Yeah, I think they made good adjustments, like things that were really people are upset about, like the 12s are too hard, and this is like too big of a jump, and
I
like
think 3K.
bad affixes.
I think 3K is attainable, and
Yeah.
it's
Oh, yeah,
it's attainable by like us,
lot
the
more
average
people.
players,
Yeah.
right?
An arcane mage and
Um,
a serve hunter will be able to get it, and I would argue we could get it through Pug.
Easily. We could get it this
Yeah.
week if we really put our heads down, I think, because
Dude, we're playing all
Yeah.
night tomorrow, bro.
well, tomorrow we're playing all fucking night, and I don't want to
That's
hear you
right.
say you're going to bed. Me and Lithian.
No, I'm not going to bed.
Yeah, I'm not going to
She's
bed,
talking
dude.
about me.
I don't
Sally's
have
not
an
going to
appointment in
bed
the morning.
either.
She's talking about
Yeah,
me.
yeah. Frank,
Yeah,
you go to
Frank.
bed. You have very small children at home, so like,
Frank,
You're out.
Frank's heart is gonna fail one
It's
day.
It-
I tell you.
I think I told you guys. I don't know if I did on the show about my boss who was asking me about the podcast, because Leo, friend of the show, told them that I am a perfect expert
Oh,
to do our patch notes, because all I do is talk for 2 hours a week about patch notes.
Yep,
Um,
it's true.
And so she asked me like, well, like how many people watch the show? And she thought like 5. I'm like, no, like we have a couple
At
thousand.
1.5, yeah.
10? Like 10.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Anyways, the point was is she's like, well, how do you do it all? Like, I know you have kids and, you know, obviously you have work. And I go, yeah, I kind of have like a double life where I stay up till 4 a.m. and then I wake up at 7:30 and I wish I was dead and my heart hurts. And, you know, I definitely think I'm going to die at the age of 50. So
Yep.
yeah, that's kind of a problem. And
My
you
50
guys,
well will
you guys
be
continue to fan
over.
the flame of my death.
No.
So
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
My grand lifetime achievement.
this might
Like
be a
if
good time
Lithian
then.
can make it to 50, you can.
This might be a good time
He's already
to
there.
transition to why I'm going to die at an early age. Okay.
Are we doing it? Are we going
I
in?
look like
We're
I'm
going in,
50.
okay? Now I'm gonna warn the viewers.
BeeGate.
I'm not wanting to edit this like crazy, but there's a lot of materials to share here, okay?
I'm gonna take some edit notes where I want things edited in.
Oh yeah, sure, Scrap. Let's just let you have
Would
free
that be
reign of where
helpful?
we cut out
Yeah.
all the things you've done wrong.
This is really important. The evidence, the exhibits, if you will, like if we're calling this a court case, are like everything. Because if you don't
agree.
bring evidence, Lithian can just say so and so fell in a
Well,
hole.
hold
and
on
they
a second.
didn't.
Hold on a second. Who's
Yep.
the gaslighter
Just for
of this
some
group?
context,
So
I woke up to this chat being full of all these diagrams, these videos. and
Yeah.
it was-
you didn't
it's
even
very
wake up to half of it, dude.
No.
No,
It
I know,
started
I
at well, we have multiple chats. We have the podcast chat, the officer chat, and stuff like that. It started at fucking 9 in the morning, man. Like I swear to God, it did, and it's been all day. Charts, videos.
There was one comment I made to
logs.
Lithium where I said, "I love you too, but you need to fuck off," or something like to that
Let me.
effect.
I want to give like a little
So
teaser,
bad.
and then Frank, I want you to set the stage.
Well,
but
no,
I
let
want
me
to
set
say
the
that.
stage.
Well, no, let me
okay,
just,
okay, do
let
your
me
teaser,
just
do your
give a
teaser.
little context
Oh my
here.
God,
She's
is
gonna
Scrap.
say
that-
something
Come
that's
on.
gonna send us to the fucking moon.
No, I'm
Lithium.
not. I just want to say for the viewers that this BeeGate that we've been arguing about since 9 in the morning was in a key that we were not going to time on a pull where we did not wipe, and we're arguing about who butt pulled it, and it has kept us
That's not what
on
I'm
our
arguing
computers
about,
all
but that's-
day.
No,
Okay,
I
let's
don't
set the
think
stage.
that's
Let's set the
that's
stage.
not
Let's
the
set the stage.
complete
Okay.
argument.
Well,
Here's
that's
the reason
just
why
a
we're doing this,
teaser.
okay? Because the truth
Yeah.
is, this isn't a first time kind of conversation for us, okay? But
No.
we wanted to let you guys in on our journey to the MDI, okay? I really want to document everything that we do in this, because God knows we're going to fall flat on our faces, but there might be some of you out there that say, I want to do this one day, or maybe I want to do it right now, and my friends, I can't convince them. So you can show them our journey and say, oh, we shouldn't do this. I want to stay friends with you, okay? So the intent here is we're not necessarily expecting an outcome from this conversation. Io is a third party that can give his ruling if he'd like. I'm not going to stop him from doing such. But I just want to give you some insight to what might happen in an environment of the MDI that we are first timers for, by the way. We're not experts. We're not
I still
people you
haven't
should
signed up.
Oh my God.
Send me the link after this. I'll
So
do it.
that is just a taste of the reason why I get so fucking angry with Scrap, and she just doesn't sign up for shit. But anyways,
Nope.
Our intent here is we're just gonna kind of argue for a little bit, okay? We're just gonna kind of shout at each other. We've already resolved this internally, like we're all good, but we want to let you guys see the, huh?
Have we resolved it?
Well, Lithia and
Yes.
I have. You're just continuing to gaslight. But
Okay.
but anyways, I just want to give some insight to this, okay? Because we thought it was entertaining, and I know you saw it from the sidelines. I think it was an entertaining listen. And we're going to try to do our best to kind of give you all of our emotions, even though we may have resolved them now from start to finish. Is that fair to say, Scrap and Lithian?
It's resolved. I'm just cared about the truth. I don't have any feelings. I don't have any skin in this game.
You don't have feelings, period, bro.
Yeah.
So it doesn't fucking matter.
My feelings are not getting hurt. I just want to know what the truth was.
The truth is.
No, don't give the truth. Frank's gonna set the stage. Let him.
No,
once upon a time. Okay.
Yeah, once upon a time.
We were running. It was a 12 cinder.
It was a 12 cinder brew. And we went into it. I'm not going to interrupt you a lot, but I'm just saying we went into it saying we're going to practice.
Sentence in.
I'm sorry, but I'm just saying we weren't going into it saying we're going to time this 100%.
Correct.
We said
didn't
we're
have any
going to
expectations.
complete it, see where the speed bumps are.
Yeah.
So it was good vibe. Wait, one more stage thing, and then I'll let you talk. I swear. This was after we wiped on that fucking one-armed bandit for 2.5 hours.
The audience is in the crowd. The play's already started, and Scrap's still trying to put up.
She blew the whistle and said, "Wait."
I'm done.
Yeah, we did just finish raid, and we were doing we do post raid key, and it's our cooldown, it's our chill. Let's do a key.
Let's go have some fun, but let's also push a little bit.
So on the inverse, real quick, I was doing a cinder brew. We finished it. The shaman got the neck, and I won the roll. And I won the roll to get it. I got the neck,
I want to punch you. I want to punch you in the head so hard all the time.
But okay, I just want to say that everybody was really grumpy already. So go on, tell the story.
Okay,
right, go ahead.
And I'm sorry. I'm gonna move a little. I'm not even gonna worry about it, guys. You've already seen the videos a bunch of time. I don't need to show you the videos anymore, right?
Well, I
put it on the podcast.
Video.
You can put it on the podcast.
Oh, you've seen the video, haven't you?
Yeah, I saw the video.
Okay.
Yep.
So again, to set that stage, that Scrap interrupted 6 times and now has half set the stage. We've just finished our raid. We just finished we actually had a 12 mother load and then bumped it down to an 11 because of nonsense, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, you're gonna see here in a second in the video, I'm not in the best of moods, okay? And part of the reason why I'm not in the best of moods, to give some context, is Lithian, rightfully so, has given me guff about making polls for him, about giving him the space to do his job as a group leader and tank, to do his job, right? And I told myself, you know what? I'm going to try to remove myself. I'm not perfect. I by no means say that I was perfect in this run, but I do think I was trying to be quiet. However, by this point, there were a couple things in both the runs, and of course the raid night, that made me in a sour mood, that weren't really done well, that I wish they were done differently, okay? Again, that's not necessarily to say it's Lithian's fault. It may have not been his fault, but just to give some context, there was a Chewy, the roaming mini boss in the first area of Cinderbrew. He had been pulled out of the expectation of Lithian when Lithian wanted to pull him, and I wasn't directly accused of pulling it for him, but as their only range, I was out there. I did see it get pulled. I didn't see what caused it, and it started running in. Okay, and
Frank
of course,
was a messenger.
And of course, I say Chewy's coming, and the whole lot of them say, "Well, why the fuck did you pull it?" Blah blah blah. Now, they didn't say it that way, but you know, that's the kind of thing. I'm like, oh, here we go, right?
Well, we had just drilled in, like, nobody fucking pulled Chewy. Like, just like, we're gonna do the 2 packs and don't pull Chewy. And within 2 seconds of Lithian pulling, we hear Frank say Chewy's coming in, and so everyone was mad.
And it's safe to say. So here's the 3 chests for Cinderbrew, right?
Yeah.
And is it safe to say that this isn't even like the right?
That's not an actual route.
I know.
No. To be fair, oh my god, to be fair, Chewy pats a lot further than I thought he did.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't anticipate how far
right
down.
Here, right?
Yeah.
He came down here. We just cleaned this all up, and we went over here.
Yeah.
And Chewy came down here. I was standing probably like right here, and I just see Chewy. Now, granted, I didn't have threat, so I didn't pull him.
Yeah.
And the reason that I didn't have threat is because your Death and Decay Lithian had pulled it. Again, not a huge deal. I didn't even think it was a big, like, we didn't fuck up the pull or anything. We were fine. Yeah. But I was already on edge because I felt like I was being blamed for it. Okay.
Yeah.
So the pull in question is right here. Okay.
Okay.
Now.
Well, hold on. Before you get to that. I think. I don't want to spend the entire time on this because this is an entire dungeon.
This is it.
And no, this is what we argued about the most But Scrap doesn't get away. Scrap doesn't get away with her shenanigans on the other wing.
To the poll that I messed up. Well, so the difference was, and to be fair, we don't know who did BeeGate for a very long time. So everybody was blaming each other, and so it became a big thing that we were upset about the next day.
Whoa. That's a broad stroke of the brush there.
It's a broad stroke. I'm giving you
in the video I'm about to show. I was blamed for it.
Yeah, you were blamed. But let me just say that I fucked up way worse.
This is what our chat looked like all morning.
Yeah. But I fucked up way worse than anybody fucked up in this whole dungeon.
Okay,
but
so
it was funny.
I'll give you this context, so here we go.
Yeah. Well, you're going to have to play the video.
No, I'm not going to.
I posted a clip, but
it was funny, and I owned up to it immediately.
I was like, one of these guys.
Yeah, she took one of those guys, and we're in the corner here.
All the way up in the corner on the left. Yeah. Circle it with your mouse. Yeah, we were all the way up there.
And she lets the charge go all the way down the hallway.
No,
the other way.
Other way.
Yeah,
it
was 4-pack.
It went all the way
back
to the other wall.
Oh my! And then she's like, "I didn't know it can go that far."
Can we point out though another reason why I was on tilt was because this pack right before it chased down here and you pulled this one. This pack was pulled, and who was blamed for it?
No one. Hold on. I will back up Lithian. Lithian said, "I know who pulled it," and then you immediately were like, "Oh,
but here's the thing. I assume Ziggler pulled it with Divine Storm. I assume Ziggler pulled it with Divine Storm, right? Yeah. And I made a comment, but he's not really part of our group. I don't want to yell at him. God. So I was. But here's the funniest part.
That is such bullshit.
It was fucking Haywire that pulled it.
It was
irrelevant.
It was Haywire that pulled it.
Your Honor, irrelevant. Okay, let's get back on topic. Okay.
Well, I just want to say that I owned up to it immediately.
Your funny pull. Okay.
It was funny, yeah.
So
it was
this
light.
is the polling question, okay? Now, before
let's go back to
actually, no, we're gonna watch the video first, okay? So give me a second. I'm gonna set up the video here.
First. Wait, from whose perspective? Because that makes
this will be mine first. Mine first.
Okay, because that's the best way. Because that's how we were introduced to it. Is from Frank's perspective first. So watch the video.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I was introduced to it.
I might have to edit this because no, we're good. Okay.
Yeah, just edit it.
All right,
it's fine.
So this is the poll
prior video.
Finishing up, and then we'll go in. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
True.
So again, look how miserable I am. I know you guys can see it at home, but all right.
I got the purveyor.
So I'm gonna pause real quick. Scrap had just said, "I've got the purveyor." Okay.
Yep. Well, she said that walking in the door
on it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's keep going.
Are you okay? I know your point.
All right. Now in the video, I have just arcane barraged a Wrangler who has a circle marker over it. Okay. The reason why I do this is because there's no other major mob in the pool. You can see that everything else is blue from Quasi's thing, and then the purveyor. Scrap said I had the purveyor. So I'm going to focus on the Wrangler. I pull it, and you'll see, I'm going to keep playing the video now. I have threat on it nonstop. He's just shooting me, and guess what? I die, okay? Now, before I go any further.
Frank is upset.
Before I go, no, I'm not that upset. You can see in my face, my expression doesn't change. I kind of knew this was going to happen, because when I hit the purveyor, or the mob, whatever it is, the Wrangler, I knew I had threat on. I was like, uh-oh, that wasn't intentional pull, okay? So I'm shutting up, okay? And I know you guys can't hear this right now, but I'm going to play the audio.
Frank.
It was already pulled.
Fuck's sake, dude. No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
Lithian says Frank, for fuck's sake. And I go, it was already pulled. And both of you assholes say, no, it wasn't, okay? I'm going to play it one more time, okay? So here we go. I'm not going to interrupt it, okay? I'm going to let it go.
Okay. I got the purveyor.
I'm really not this mean.
Okay, I know your point. But just, we were upset. Okay. It was hard. It was a hard key.
I wasn't going to pull that.
What are you talking Frank? It was already pulled.
Fuck's sake, dude. No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
What are you talking about? I saw the thing run up.
No, but you don't have to pull that.
Yeah.
Okay. I played it all throughout. And I end it with Scrap saying, no, you don't need to pull that.
Well, okay. Let me defend myself. Because normally I see those two things pulled together, right? Lithian, as I understand, it is his right. He was trying to build up more stacks before he got the meat of the pull, right? Which is fair. He should be in control of that. Now, what I did is I put the hunter's mark on it, which doesn't pull aggro. I just want to say, if people don't know about it, I'm a survival hunter.
It doesn't. That's confirmed.
She hasn't macroed with that beast,
I do
kill
not.
Beast, whatever
I
nonsense.
put it on thinking we were going to pull it. I said, I've got the purveyor, anticipating having to kick it, right? But then when I saw him not go in, I didn't go in. I went like, oh, we're not pulling it.
Oh.
And then I was like, oh, okay. I will refrain. Is what I thought to myself.
She said, "Oh."
I said, oh,
because again, I want to point out that she said we don't need to pull that after the fact of calling me out for pulling
I meant
it.
we don't need to pull that together. I realized because I think I ran a key with Lithium before where he's put this up before. So
let me. So I play a Blood DK, right? And we had just rolled off of the couple of packs, and I was coming off of using a few defensives, and when I rolled into this one, I noticed my runic power was a bit lower than I like, and I didn't have I probably didn't have Icebound Fortitude and something else, I don't know. But when I rolled in, I immediately got chunked down, so I was getting ready to start death striking, and I decided not to pull the.
Okay.
Figured it out,
I apologize. All right, I apologize. We're gonna have a little edit there just because Scrap was mute.
I wrote an edit for it.
All right. Anyways, all right. Go on, Lithium. Sorry, you were saying.
So I knew I was going to get chunked right away. I wanted to build some runic power, and I wanted to get comfortable, and then I was going to grip those two mobs in. I had this played out in my mind, but normally when I'm coming into this room, I do pull the whole thing all at once, right? And so it's not typical for me to pause.
Hold on.
But
hold on. But you guys said you didn't intend. Both of you said that you didn't intend to pull that.
I was back in my tank.
I wasn't ready to pull it yet, and it got pulled. And when somebody else tags it before I do, I have to switch target and grip it or taunt it. Otherwise, it's gonna demolish whoever tagged it before me, right? And I was in a state where I was at like 10% health, getting ready to start Death Strike, and that mob just jetted right to your face and just wiped you off the earth. And I was like, oh.
Come on, VLC, keep up.
Well,
VLC is looking.
What we argued about, because the argument in the morning,
well,
Frank was saying he was blamed for too many butt pulls, and we were kind of like, no, you did butt pull that, because from mine and Lithium's perspective. Front pulled, right? Front pulled, whatever.
No, I tagged it. I full stop tagged it because I saw it move.
Lithium's,
watch.
What I remember.
This is the reason why I want to call it up, because this is, and granted, I take full responsibility for that, because like I said, I should have waited anyways. Like, that's not in contention, right? But I attacked the Wrangler because I see the Purveyor move, and you can see it in very slow motion here. The Purveyor's there, Purveyor's there, Purveyor's there. Oh god, this is losing quality, but let me let it
no, I did have some defenses.
But the Purveyor starts moving.
I had just purgoed.
The second it moves, so there it's got marked star. Move. It's moving, right? I attack. Okay.
And I respond to that also. I saw them also moving in. I was also like, oh, they're pulled. Like, I need to get over there to kick the thing I'm supposed to kick. Well, I'm not.
You literally told me in this video you're not supposed to attack them.
Well, because no, you weren't, but I saw that they were in, so that's why I started attacking it immediately.
Yeah, see,
I got misdirect. I was saying.
I got chunked, and I was getting ready to start to heal myself back up like I normally do. I hit Vampiric Blood, and I was after I hit that, I was fine, but it was too late. Like, whatever tagged that mob was gonna wipe out whoever was doing damage to it, and unfortunately,
I was like waiting. Like, is he gonna take it? Is he gonna take it? Nope, he's not gonna take it. Oh no, there you take it.
I took it right. I took it right when
unbelievable.
You got wiped out, and it was fine. But then
Frank's face.
I haven't moved. I haven't moved.
So, but here's the thing.
Not a surprise at all across my face.
I do get sad when somebody dies like that to aggro or something else, and I get a little frustrated because I should have did better, and I think we collectively were a little on edge already because this is the last wing of the dungeon. We're just trying to get through it.
We did this before.
We did this before.
We did this second. We weren't even. We did this. We were just starting the dungeon.
Do you want to see it from Lithium's perspective?
You're right.
Yeah.
Actually,
well, hold on.
Yeah,
Wait, let me
sorry.
set this stage too, because we only had Frank's perspective to start with, and from Frank's perspective, it's kind of iffy. It's kind of like, well, they are kind of moving in. So, like, what happened?
Well-
So, of course, we go to the logs. So, Frank, edit in the logs.
Logs are right there. I got them up.
Yep, the logs are in.
What you'll see on the logs right now is a timeline, okay?
Yeah.
And the mob was pulled, if I remember correctly, at 12:09, according to my log.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. But we weren't sure exactly when it was pulled based on the video, right? So we're looking at it, and we see that the first spell cast on like the purveyor, right?
Yeah,
was a kill command from me.
Right there. Royal Jelly Purveyor.
And I was like, okay, well, yeah, like I'm gonna get in there when it's already pulled. Like I was saying, like I think it was already pulled.
1 second
so I was already
after it's pulled, you were already kill commanding it.
Yeah, I was ready, dude. I'm always on it.
No, 1 second, 1 second into the room.
Yeah. No, because hold on. At 5 seconds before, I put a hunter's mark. So that's when we entered the room. It was 5 seconds before.
We were all walking in. Those two.
I had to put hunter's mark, dude.
Hunter's mark
5 seconds before.
5 seconds.
So that's you can't say 1 second in the room.
No, 3 seconds before it was pulled. 3 seconds.
Yeah, it's not that long.
Well, then I got dragged into it because I was like, "That's not how I remember it."
The first thing I put down is Death and Decay to pull to aggro everything, and then I hit Blood Boil, and then I go into a Heart Strike, and I start Death Striking,
which didn't hit the mob. Which did not hit the mob.
Yeah, the Blood Boil didn't hit that mob that was coming in.
He rolled it out.
Heart Strike, I go in. I know I'm going to get chunked, so I start Death Strike, and then I Vampiric Blood. I do another Blood Boil. At this time, the mob is aggroed.
Keep your arrow on that.
Huh?
on the bottom, what is that? Arcane orbs on the bottom.
No. So this is my touch of the Magi. This is the first thing you can see. I blink and I've done nothing.
Yeah.
My touch of the Magi happens literally like a split second after the pull. So like the pull's like right here at the 12:09 and a half, right?
Yeah. Where was the barrage? Because we at the other logs we looked at.
One.
Wait, is this just on the purveyor?
The next thing he does is he fires those arcane bolts or whatever.
Yeah.
That because I know the graphics, I don't know the abilities.
Is it that one that looks like a balanced druid thing?
No. So my touch of the Magi, it's so close you can see it right here. You see these two? That's
okay, yeah.
Right there.
So I will say, Frank, I gotta call you out because you were showing me the logs of the purveyor and saying, "Scrap, you pulled it," and I said, "I want to see the logs of the other guy because the other guy is the one that you were attacking. I want to see if that happened first." And we did, and it
but
did
I take
happen
full
first.
responsibility for that because I was under the impression it was being pulled.
Yeah, but earlier in the day you were not. You were saying, well, that was from the previous pack because it wasn't marked, and you could see that I was only hitting the marked one.
Well, that was just because I was confused. But yeah, okay.
Well, you were confused, but I'm just saying there's a lot of back and forth today. But we see the sequence of events is that on that pack, the Arcane Barrage happened before the kill command. That's very important.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So
no, again, we've already
point,
confirmed this is the point where it was, you have kill command here. This is the point where it was pulled.
Well, at this point, we thought that, well, obviously, Frank pulled it because he's the first person
we thought you did.
Well, no, but when we found out, when we looked at the Arcane Barrage happened first, so we were like, okay, well then, Frank is
I wasn't there for that part, but okay.
Yeah, well, I don't worry, I was on top of it. I was the judge. And I also said kill command. If you know anything about kill command, I'm a survival hunter, so I'm not shooting bullets, and I do not have pet attack bound like macro to anything because I'm not good at the game. So when I hit kill command, like the damage doesn't get delivered right away. The pet has to run in, and he was stuck in the doorway for a minute, so he's a little bit behind.
He wasn't stuck.
He was stuck in the doorway.
Whatever.
But he was behind you and me.
Let's not take too long on this, y'all.
Well, okay, let's not take too long on this. Well, hold on.
We spent hours arguing about this.
Well, I want to see the video from Lithian's perspective because that will give us a little more context. So let's play the video from Lithian's perspective because this is where the case gets broken wide fucking open. Okay.
Oh my god.
Allegedly.
No, not allegedly.
This is Lithian's perspective. Okay.
Not allegedly.
Yeah.
All right. So yes, this is the pack we're finishing up.
Yeah, we're finishing that up.
Okay,
I'm going in.
See my pet? He's stuck in the doorway back there. See how he's not behind me? There, he's caught up.
Now,
okay,
I'm gonna play it in slow-mo. I'm gonna play it in slow-mo.
Because nobody could catch what happened. Not like me who went over it with a fine.
He didn't clip it very well, did he?
I can definitely see where Lithian would be like, I wasn't planning on pulling that because you see him go up there and he wasn't in aggro range and they started running up.
Are you sure about that?
No, I'm not in aggro range.
Hold on.
I'm not in aggro range. No.
I need my gap.
No. So look at my
Here we go.
where my
We're gonna
death
take
and
it slow.
decay is.
Let's let it go slow for a second. Let's let it go.
Okay.
That's fine.
Well, I'm gonna ask you to pause it. I need you to pause it right when I ask you, Frank.
It's a
Try
very
August.
abrupt ending, so we gotta be
Tranquil
careful.
Very-
is terrible.
But
Well, we can
My
pull up my.
transmog, that's what he's worried about. All right. So
Okay.
watch his
Get
mouse
ready to
cursor.
pause.
Watch his mouse cursor. Right.
yep.
I do.
Mob's
I
not
click
pulled,
on it and
mob's
I
not
click
pulled.
off.
Okay.
They're not
Grabs
pulled.
the beelet.
Right.
They're
There's
not
the blood
pulled.
boil.
There's
Still hasn't
marks
got
on
it.
that.
Pause.
Right.
Pause. Oh wait,
He
no,
looks
they're
like
not pulled yet.
he's-
Pause.
No,
Okay,
no.
later.
So I go. So here's normally what I do is I hit blood
So
boil
here's the mouse. It goes over here and it does this.
and I click this guy to pull him in.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
I clicked on him and then I felt uncomfortable, like I was gonna die.
Pause.
So I clicked
Dark
off.
You didn't even click
And-
on him. You didn't even click on him.
Pause. He turns around right here. Let's take a look at where Frank is. Can you circle Frank on the
Right
back here?
Right here.
Not casting any orbs. No orbs in his hand. Can we look
Look
at
at
where
dog is
Braylon
going.
is? Hold on.
Look-
Hold on. Look at where Braylon is. I'm
I
yeah.
don't
I'm
even- where are- oh, there, right
lower
here, okay.
to the right. Yeah, I'm right
Hold
there.
up, hold
Look
up,
at
hold up.
where my
Hold
dog
on.
is.
The judge needs to hear something. What I ask you.
So
Go on.
this is at 14:45. on
Yeah. So the reason
timer.
why it's
off.
time different is because I
It's
stepped
off,
outside to
yeah.
repair.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Why'd
it's-
you do
it's
that?
weird.
I have repair things, Frank.
Because
Just
I'd
ask
already
me.
died.
He
died,
was
Scrap.
dead.
I'd been
Oh,
blamed
okay.
So
6
that's not
times for
gonna-
polls, and I said, you know
He
what?
wasn't
I'm just going to
happy.
go outside and take care of myself.
So that's.
I
That
need a
is
minute
okay.
outside
So-
to catch my breath.
No, don't.
So keep an
talking.
eye on that dog.
No, Lithian. At this
No, keep
point.
an eye. Watch the dog.
Wait,
Watch the
don't
dog.
play it. Do not play it, Frank.
Yeah, do play it.
No,
I
don't play it.
apologize to our
Keep
viewers. I
it-
thought this was
keep
going to be a
it-
good idea. I was terribly
Frank,
wrong.
Keep it
Dog is right
paused.
here. Dog is right here.
But look at the mob is already pulled. He's
Yes.
already coming.
Yeah,
Lithian
the mob
took,
is running at this moment.
Yeah, the mob is running. Lithian took a half step forward. The mob said, "What the fuck is that?" He turned around. The
No,
dog
Hold on,
is
hold on.
innocent.
Let's look. Let's
The
look.
dog is not
let's
innocent.
see what his
Yes, he
let's
is.
see what his plater looks like when he doesn't have
Okay.
aggro on something.
Yeah.
When I don't have aggro.
Yeah.
Well, if it's not aggroed at all, it's
Yeah.
just a regular. I think it's regular color.
I'm-
Because then
I have to.
what I do is I rub my mouse over to
Wait,
get all
wait.
the.
That would
To get all the-
anyways because misdirect, and he's already being misdirected.
No. But
So-
But I didn't.
Well,
I didn't hit
Scrap
it.
didn't
It's-
die.
The purveyor is a blue mob,
Frank
but you can see
died.
here these are pulled,
Yeah.
but they're red, which means he doesn't have
Yeah.
aggro on them yet. Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, also, look, Lithian or Io, can I point something out?
And they turn
is
green
that
when you have aggro.
we determined from the logs that kill command was not pressed until orbs were cast, and orbs were not cast at the point this was. So I had not kill commanded yet.
He got scared because
So-
his health dipped. So
Okay.
he's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
death strike." Actually, he heart
Yeah.
strike.
So-
he didn't even death strike.
So right now
Well, I
I bet
hard
you're
strike. I have to build
swallowing
runic
me.
power.
you
Yeah.
have
So
like a million
I
runic
step
power
back.
right
Orbs
now.
are cast.
I
Orbs are
step
cast.
back.
Right.
Kill command
No,
is cast.
I go through runic power really fast.
Yeah.
So
You have
the
71. I don't know
purveyor,
what you're talking
the
about.
purveyor is aggroed
Yeah.
at this point,
Yep.
and I thought for a second that I accidentally pulled it. Right.
You were right.
Oh, okay.
So no,
So in
no.
this moment, you think you pulled
I thought maybe my blood boil hit it.
Can I play
But-
back the video where you and Scrap then in this moment? This is happening in real
Well,
time.
no.
You're blaming
in real
me
time,
for
that's
pulling it.
no. In real time, that's what I thought until the bar immediately turned red, and at that point, I realized I didn't tag that.
Yeah.
This one right here. You're talking about the Bee Wrangler?
Yeah,
no,
that's
both
the
of
one.
them.
Well, this
both
one
of them.
one's all yours, bud. This one I think
Well,
when I get
yeah.
my here, let's play it'll turn off in a second here, but I think I get aggro here for a second.
But that
Yeah,
one,
that's
with
where I
my
get
razor
Yeah,
aggro.
it turned red like
because
right away.
I barraged it right there. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and so I thought initially I thought I pulled it, but then it turned red. And I thought, oh, somebody tagged it because this is what Haywire does to me.
Yep.
Somebody tagged it, and I didn't have enough reaction time to click on the mob and death grip it because that's what happened next. Right when you
Yeah.
died, the death grip went off.
Yeah, we saw that on
And-
Frank's.
Which by the way, misdirect right here.
Yeah, I am misdirected. So
yeah.
when Scrap makes a mistake,
Oh.
she can
Oh.
easily hide it.
Mm.
No, but I
Oh.
didn't. We looked at the logs.
Okay, I've given you guys enough
What?
of a platform. I'm going to give you one last sentence to say before we start moving on to the other part of this conversation. So
The only thing you
we've
need,
seen it
Io,
all, right?
Keep going.
We've seen it
Yep.
all from the angles we have. We've seen the data pouring. I'll talk more about that in a second. But
Yep.
I ask you, you're about to rule. You have one last sentence from each one of them. Lithian, you start.
Oh, I'm good, man.
You've made your case.
I will steamroll him then.
I've
because he
made my
knows.
case. Here's what I will say. of all the people on E-Team, Scrap is notorious for passing blame and immediately gaslighting to ensure that it never rolls back.
Hold on.
Play Lithian's perspective again.
Well,
I'm
I'm going to play my video real quick. So
I want to defend myself. It's not related to my IO statement. Is that I'm also notorious for if I make a mistake and I know I make the mistake, I'm not going to make up somebody else to put the blame on.
No. Only if it can't be disproven or if there's no doubt, right?
I'm so mad because you blame me for falling off a cliff and I fucking put together a dissertation how I didn't.
Okay. No, sorry. I'm going to let you guys keep going.
No, let me do my sentence.
Okay, do your
Scrap,
sentence.
yours.
This is a run-on sentence, okay? but I
Start a clock.
The only thing you need to know is that when the mob was pulled, when it was active, when it was coming in, the orbs had not been cast yet. And we know that the kill command was cast after the orbs. So there was no engagement on my part with the mob. I do not have bullets. I do not have a range attack that cannot be pressed.
To be clear.
Yeah.
The log only tracks when you click a button and who you're targeting, okay?
I don't have any non-target AoEs. No, I don't have any non-target AoEs. The only one I have is maybe Fear of the Eagle. That's a very short range.
Because all AoE is non-target AoE because you have one target and the other 4 don't get hit.
No, I have to target to do an AoE. I don't have any round circles that put on the ground.
I know, that's not what I'm saying.
What Scrap did was she unleashed Sentinel, she hit Eagle, and she went to town.
No, that's a Wildfire Bomb. It is not on the logs. The only thing on the logs from my part is Hunter's Mark, which does not aggro. Does not at all. We know this. It is an irrefutable fact. And kill command, which is tied to my pet. Until my pet is in, it does no damage, no aggro, no nothing. Which wasn't even when the mobs were pulled. The kill command had not even been cast. It not even left my bar. I was probably still on GCD. Okay. So I think that's all the information you say that I am innocent. And I even say Frank is innocent because the orbs had not been cast.
Okay.
Lithian is guilty of walking too close.
Now, my last statement is all throughout the day until probably about 5 in the evening, right? Was a contentious argument about how these two donkeys will gaslight me. And I want to play this video and its audio one more time. So you might need to turn on your audio on your end to prove my point.
This is serious.
Tired.
Scrap says it's serious. She says, I've got the purveyor.
I got the purveyor.
Purveyor moves, I attack. I've already accepted my fate based on my shitty attitude on my face.
I wasn't going to pull that.
Lithian tells me he wasn't going to pull that after mousing over it and then backing off. He was going to pull it. He just didn't. What are you talking about? I saw the thing run up.
I changed my mind.
No, but a lot happens in the moment.
And then they both tell me that that's not a pull they make. You pulled, Frank. You pulled. That is my closing argument.
I do.
Looking back at everything I had available, I could have pulled them together.
Well, here's the thing.
I just didn't feel comfy.
Is that I'm cool. Like, I'm the first one to say, like, hey, stop being an asshole. People make mistakes. Why are we getting upset about this? But I also, I really get into this. I want to know what happened. Like, I want to see the truth.
We'll get to that part in a second.
Yeah. Okay, Io, who pulled?
Can I see Lithian's point of view one more time?
Yeah. You want it in slow motion?
And I just kind of need to watch it.
Do you want to pause the moment where the guy runs in?
Yeah, let's do slow motion. That's fine.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Also, I feel like Scrap should never ever be allowed to actually get this involved in any of this because she never has her point of view recorded, and we can never truly see what happens on her end.
She gaslights the shit out of it. We'll get to that.
Because if I recorded, my fucking computer would explode.
Yeah,
true.
What are we looking for here? I ask you. What are we looking for?
Yeah,
so I'm just trying to see if the mob took any kind of damage before it ran in. That's all I want to see. Or if there's any kind of weird spell effect around. I'm just curious.
Based on the logs, the first bit of damage it took was Scrap's the kill command.
Well, hold on. The purveyor took the kill command, but
yes.
The orb hit the other mob before my kill command hit.
Correct.
Yeah.
Death and decaying.
He blood boils. He vampiric strikes. Or
got that going on. It's got the aggro going.
So you can see 100% on the mob, 100% on the mob. He mouses over it. I don't even think he clicks it. He just mouses over it.
He's just looking.
Just percentage.
The star goes on it.
It starts to run.
No damage is done to it.
No
you'll see
damage
here.
done to
You'll
it.
see here. I hit. With
There's
barrage.
damage right here.
There's no dog on it either. There's my dog. He's running in
There's
right
a dog.
now.
Look, he's running
now-
right to
He
it.
ran in
All right,
well
that's
after.
all
it was
lithium.
full.
Now, real quick, you said the first instance of damage. Can we actually see in the log when she hit the button? Does kill command pull aggro when the
No,
the
kill
thing
command-
No,
starts
I
moving?
pull aggro because my
Yeah.
Arcane Barrage was cast at the whatever the other guy was, and
Yeah.
it cleaved onto
Yeah.
her,
Like
and
if
then
she,
I got aggro, but Lithium immediately pulled it off.
well,
Well, not fast enough.
if Scrap
But-
were to hit kill command because she thought it was part of the pull because he
Mhm.
walked up, if she just hit the button and the damage hadn't happened yet,
her
would that have
pet
pulled
taunted.
aggro?
No,
pet
it won't.
taunted.
And we can test that. No, my pet doesn't taunt. My pet is not a ranged
I
attacker.
think I
He's a
asked you. You got
dog.
the information
Okay.
you need.
Yeah.
I accept.
IO. Kill command does not do any damage or aggro until the pet is in melee range of the thing.
Okay,
It's
come on.
just
We need to
if
put this part to bed.
No,
if someone
Yeah.
got too close, I mean, I just think
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. It's
Here-
just
here's
I know.
not
here's
obvious.
Do not know what happened. And we also, when you pause it, the closest person to the mobs is Lithian. Me and Frank
Well, yeah,
will
it
go
sh- it
behind
should be.
him. Yeah, and that's when it turns around. When you step, you take literally. If I watch
here.
with a microscope.
Here's the deal, and to conclude all of this,
Yeah.
like I'll accept that it may have been a body pull, and I should have gripped it in instead of hesitating, and I probably won't hesitate next time. But it's been a very exciting day over a non-consequential pull in a non-consequential dungeon
Yeah.
that didn't mean anything.
I think it really fills out the story to
But-
say this was
but
not.
that's
this did
not the
break
point.
The timer.
None of that is the point
It's not the point.
to Frank's sadness.
Frank, tell us about why you're sad.
Well, no, I've already conveyed my problem with gaslighting.
He's already
and-
shed his
No,
sadness.
this is what I wanted to talk about, and we got to be quick because again, we're now knocking on the door 2 hours again. What I wanted to point,
We're
the
done.
reason why I did this, one, for hopefully entertainment value. I don't know if people are going to listen to us ranting and care, but
Yell at each other.
I wanted to point out what it might look like to have a team of friends, right? Because we've been playing together now for what, 3 + 4, 5 years probably now.
Getting there.
Long time.
And you know, Lithian, I jokingly said earlier that I said I love you too, but you need to fuck off, right?
Yep.
There's a thing that I always hear about with the MDI teams is that they'll have the best players, like the dream teams assembled, but they can't continue to go on because of friction. And I wonder if it looks anything like what we're doing, okay? So for those of you that want to build a team, whether it be MDI or not, whether it be just like tens or whatever you want to do, right? There's a level of, we talked about auditing, there's a level of communication, right? Like my problem right here, Lithian, is, going back to the screen real quick, is why wasn't this factored to be part of the pool? Because like there's nothing deadly in here. Maybe for you there is, I'm not gonna argue that, but there's nothing here that I would say, oh, this is enough for one pull. You know, we've talked about this many times. Season 2 is all about the move to the mob that has the most deadly thing, focus that, and then everything else is fine. It's safe enough, right? That why wouldn't this be included in the poll? My assumption, you can even see it, like I've selected the mob I'm waiting, is that you're going to make this pull. And the reason I bring this up is not to, I know there was obviously factors why you made the decision, but like part of the whole idea of building the team is knowing what your tank is thinking without having to ask them to express it to you, right? It's what happens when things go wrong and how do you kill each other and, you know, scream at each other.
Right.
And I just wanted to hear you guys, after all this is said and done, like, do you feel like this makes us a stronger MDI team or a worse MDI team?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm never going to make this mistake again.
I don't know if it makes you guys stronger or anything, but I will say that F for Zigla for not noticing you have aggro and not just bopping you. That would have saved everything.
F Zigla,
Wow.
yeah, that's
F Zigla.
That is an angle that we were not
Wow.
expecting today.
wow, F Zigla.
Poor Zigla. But no, and
Or-
Frank,
Where was Musham healing your boy? I just needed a little
yeah,
heal.
Dude, you didn't even get a- you didn't even get a
Musham let you
riptide.
die.
You didn't even get a
Musham
riptide.
let you die.
Where was the Earth Elemental that he cast 5 seconds after Frank died?
Well, I think after Frank died, he
He realized
triggered-
the severity of it.
He was like,
yeah,
oh,
he's like, oh. but and you're right, Frank. Normally, when I come into this room, I do pull those two, and normally, like and that's why Scrap ran in saying she had the purveyor, because normally that's what I do. And what happens when we're inconsistent is stuff like this, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is, I think the fact that we can have this conversation, we could argue about it for hours on end, and still come together and get through a podcast together and still be able to do keys together is great for our friendship. From an MDI perspective, I think we have to practice more, and I think we need to do more keys.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I don't know if you have the beginning of the clip, but like literally where your clip starts, Frank, is me kind of like grumbling, saying like, we're here to practice. Like, because we're already getting frustrated with each other, is like, look, we're practicing. We're going to make mistakes. And then
if you want to look at the whole key, you can just look at Frank's VOD.
Do you guys think this is again, my problem isn't the mistake, right? My problem, like where I would wonder if this wasn't a 5-year friendship and this is maybe a team that we sought out each other and said like, hey, like I hear you're good and hey, I hear you're good. Let's build a team. And the gaslighting that happened, because that's my problem. I didn't care about the death. I accepted it. I saw what happened. I was like, oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. And I didn't even use my defensives. I should have, right? Like there's an argument right there. The thing that like stands out to me is just like the buffoonery of, I've got it. We weren't supposed to pull that. And that's where the hours upon hours of chaos came from. And I wonder what it's like in a professional, because we obviously know we're not going to do well in MDI, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even if we even scratch like the surface of something, we'll be like super pleased with ourselves. But in a scenario where there is people who are either let's say it's not an MDI, let's say people want to get their achievements or whatever, or get title, right? Or there's an actual MDI environment or professional environment, whatever. I'm sure that the stress levels go way off the charts. How do you find a way to release the valve? Because Scrap, I'll be honest, if we weren't friends, the way that you literally would just push my buttons, right?
But you know that I don't mean it maliciously. Like I didn't say to you like, oh, we weren't supposed to pull that to like fuck with you. Like I was just like being like, oh, I don't think Lithian was supposed to pull that, and then it came out my mouth. Like like
it just came out.
It's a stream. When I do a key, I have a stream of consciousness that I talk the entire time.
When you do a podcast, it's the same.
It's worse
than the podcast.
Ends. Like nobody's even listening to me. I'm just saying this and I'm saying that and I'm saying this and I'm like, oh, Lithium didn't mean to pull that. Like, so Frank knows because he's played for 5 years with me that I'm not maliciously gaslighting him. I'm gaslighting him just because that's what came out of my mouth.
What I will say though is when we hopped over that wall, and normally your dumb pet pulls everything up there.
I learned, yes.
We didn't pull anything extra, and it surprised the shit out of me.
Pulled this, but that was my fault because my orb went
that was an orb.
This is a nothing burger right here.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
It was just a tense subject because you had just been accused of pulling, and then you immediately and you're like, I didn't, and then you immediately pull the next thing. Like
yeah, but I would have been like,
he said he did that. He admitted.
I had nowhere to set my orb.
Yeah.
We didn't pull anything over here that we normally do because Scrap's dumb pet doesn't know how to control itself.
I learned to dismiss my pet.
So,
see, that's what. But now,
it's positive.
But you know what? We're never gonna fuck up that pull again. I don't think. And I hope that I never accidentally drag that mob all the way down the hallway again. Because that was very silly.
It's a real route, by the way.
No, it's not a real route.
I made this route to joke about how Lithian says he's got a route and then he pulls 110%.
That
first room is
psychotic.
There's no way doing all that. No, they're gonna do that in the MDI, I bet, but not us.
Well, we don't do that.
Yeah, we're not gonna do that.
Two muscles is enough. I can't do any more than that.
Well,
yeah, but look how sensible. No chewy.
Okay. What is the lesson that you would want to impart on someone who's building a team out with friends, or not friends, maybe just like people who are taking it seriously? What is the how do you find that place where, like, for me as an example, I'm used to tanking, I'm used to being in control, and I got to find a way to shut the fuck up and let you do your thing. Like, what is the lesson you're taking away from this and other conversations that we might have or have had?
I got an advice.
Of course you do.
Well, that's kind of opposite of what we did, but we've been playing for a long time. Is that like defend yourself, but like let stuff go, because like this wasn't a big deal at all. Like I said, we weren't gonna time this key, and it wasn't even a wipe, and it doesn't really matter who pulled it. Like it was okay. We just, if Lithian says, oh, next time I don't want to pull that, we move on, like sort of thing. Like don't hold on to the anger if it's you know, like really contextualize stuff. Now this, like for me, I got really dug my heels in because I was like, I want to know what happened. Like,
Despite
I
the
gotta
fact
see
not
the
5
truth.
seconds earlier you said it's just a practice key. Who cares?
Yeah, but this is in the morning when everybody was arguing
Yeah.
about it,
Well-
and then all of a sudden I wasn't getting dragged into it, and then all of a sudden somebody put up a log. It was like, you killed Command. I was like,
Oh,
that's
wait a
right.
minute.
I was like,
I
wait a
will be
second.
blamed.
let's see what happened. You know, but like my advice is that if you're trying to build a team, you don't know each other very well, and something like this happens, you know, you're communicating with people as people. Like, let somebody know if something upsets you, but like maybe don't make it a big deal in the key, because it's really going to drag the spirits down, and it's going to make
Yeah.
everybody go to bed upset.
I think I think the biggest thing is like we all have to have patience with each other,
Yeah.
and we all have to understand that like I want to do better for us as a whole. And if you think about the bigger group and what you're trying to accomplish, there's going to be points in time that are frustrating and make you so angry that you just want to quit. And you might quit depending on who you're with and what the culture is like in that team. But you got to find people you vibe with and people that you can be patient with, because it ain't going to be easy all the time.
Yeah, and I want to piggyback off that from my point. Like, it's easy to say that now. Like, I could easily say, yeah, why not be patient, blah, 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 and all that stuff. My initial gut reaction, again, because I'm so controlling, is that I want to know the answer. I want to deflect the blame or accept it. You know, I'll try to accept it when it is my fault, clearly. What I would give the advice is, anytime you're in this scenario, like you said, in the moment, it's not worth the fight. It's not like you're not accomplishing anything to help the key at that point. What I would instead say is like, hey, we'll look at it afterwards. Hey, whatever happened, but and then use the tools that are in front of you. It is astonishing how, and this goes just for general gameplay, how people will go into keys and then blame the tank, blame the healer. I didn't get heals, blah, 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 blah. And I was one of these people, you know, not too long ago, like in Dragonflight, I would be guilty of this. And then not look at the logs to see, did I have, like in this case, my cooldowns that would have saved me if I just used them? Or did I have the arcane orb that I didn't see fly out of my asshole and pull something? And in that moment, worrying about that problem, and so especially as a tank, if you or whoever the leader of the group is, like trying to find a moment to say, like, look, we will digest it later, but don't worry about it right now. And then using your tools to find out and say, well, okay, for example, just as a scenario, let's say I did pull it. My first question would be, again, why wasn't this part of your pull? And again, I could come into that very hot and say, well, Lithian, why the fuck weren't you pulling this, blah, blah, blah. And I should also give you the grace to say, well, I had planned on going in. I pulled back X, Y, and Z reasons. And me as the DPS should have known, well, wait until you know it's in control, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Take the time to just stop the finger pointing and say, we will get to the bottom of it later. And even when you do get to that point, don't go for the kill. Don't, like, I wanted to go for the kill on Scrap today just because of the language she used in the video, right? But that was also more to just get a laugh out of the whole scenario once we all finally get over it, right? But like I went to bed furious last night and I was like, do I want to continue doing this? I'm not having fun. And the truth is that after all the fun we had digging into the data today, which again takes friends to do, right?
Yeah.
I am still going to bed thinking, well, Scrap gaslights the shit out of me in the middle of a key. I'll just have to wait till the end to prove her wrong again.
Yeah.
But it's okay. We're going to go do a key after this. We're going to have fun and probably have more fun because of it. Yada, yada, yada. I know you weren't necessarily in the midst of this. Sorry, Lithian, you wanted that?
The last thing I would say is if you have the opportunity, get Warcraft Recorder and record all your keys.
Yes.
It'll make you better.
Yes.
Once a week we have like something like this where we say like, let's go back and look at who pulled that or who did this. I mean, the first time it happened was in Shadowlands, dude. It was a plague fall, like, and it was this huge exciting court case of who pulled this thing, and it was freaking healer.
Hey, we're a stupid Earth Elemental.
Go on, Io, sorry.
The best is just to save the fails too whenever there's like a really awesome epic moment. Just hey guys, something's gonna happen.
Where Scrap falls into the water of the rookery last boss, and then I get to submit it to Alep as a heavy fail.
I want to hear Io's advice based on what you beheld.
No key ever goes 100% perfect all the time, if it ever does. And usually whenever something happens, always try to look at yourself first and say, what could I have done to prevent what happened? And then if there is something where you say, okay, I did all I could, if someone else wants to take the mantle and ask, let them, if they're open for feedback or advice, or if you are in a team environment and you are trying to give each other constructive criticism, then you can be like, hey, I don't think you communicated how you wanted to do this poll correctly, or I thought that this got pulled, my bad, I'll be more careful next time about not doing that. But I think just got to look at yourself and just make sure you're doing everything you can and just not really worry about everyone else. Just control what you can control. And if it's an environment where you need to be constructive, just be willing to listen, be willing to take criticism. And if, it gets heated, just walk away for a bit and just try to hear the other person's perspective and come back and see if you can find a common ground on it,
All right, well said. Okay, let's put a bow on this entire episode. We are really late. Any last thoughts from Lithian?
I guess I think you really should focus on what you can control and laugh about everything else.
Find a way to have fun in chaos.
And enjoy a glass of whiskey every once in a while. It makes me happy.
During keys.
During keys, during raid. Whatever chills the vibes, man.
Yeah.
Scrapclaw.
Well, I know for a fact that we have another 12 Cinder Brew, so we're gonna have another run at this, and we will update next week. If that one went better.
All right, I ask you.
All right. Happy to watch you guys work this out in real time. And then just because Frank's been trying to get us to recommend some stuff, I found this new game on TikTok. Haven't had a chance to play it yet,
Wait,
so I'm actually wondering. Yeah, just saw highlights from it.
Okay.
If you're someone who's played it, let me know in the comments what you think. But it's called Repo. It's very similar to Lethal Company, but they have like weird like talking heads, and it's just really funny, and it looks like a lot of fun.
Should we play it as a guild night?
Yeah, I think that'd be really
it could
fun.
be fun.
Yeah.
I've seen some streamers play it and stuff. Like there's like guys I watch and they played it, and it seems like it like kind of what was the one you said before?
Oh, Lethal Company.
It looks very similar to that, but it's very funny.
Part where like
nice.
Two people are hiding underneath the table and the one person's dog is barking in the background.
Yeah, I saw that.
They're walking, the monster sees them. It was great.
I saw that because they're like sock puppets, so it's like going bark, bark.
We really need to
like
get.
Really
we need
cute.
to get like. I mean, playing Liar's Bar was fucking hysterical. We need to do stuff.
Dude, I got the Yahtzee.
Yahtzee.
So let us know what you think of that one.
I was in the middle of a 20-hour stream at that point, and I was so blown away by it. Oh god.
Also, the one part where I was playing so badly, but I just had all 6 bullets in my gun, so I just couldn't lose. It was awesome.
All right, my not recommendation, but a little fun fact that I learned about via some what are the social medias. So I don't know if any of you guys are a fan of Cheez-Its. Yes, no.
Yeah. Who doesn't like Cheez-Its?
Well,
the fuck?
Here's the thing.
Pretty good.
I stopped liking them because whenever I go to the store and get them, I get like shit Cheez-Its, right? There's one box.
They're
I'm like, oh, this is
stale?
delicious. No, well, yeah, sometimes they're stale or they're burnt or something's wrong with them, right?
Okay.
All right.
Well, I found out via some clip of a podcast. I don't remember the name of it, so I'm sorry I'm not quoting it. But did you know that if you have a Cheez-It box, and I'm showing on camera, there's a barcode on it, right? And there's a serial number on it that if it starts with K, that means it was manufactured in their Kansas factory.
What is this?
Dude,
bullshit?
throwing Kansas under the bus. Let's go.
They are known for the best Cheez-Its, okay?
Oh, okay.
I went to Target today.
That Kansas box, bro.
I went to Target today, and I was like, oh, Cheez-Its. I'm going to test this theory. I pick up the box. I see a K. Oh, okay. I come home. I try them. Fucking magnificent. They are so fucking delicious.
Get this Kansas Cheez-Its.
Yeah.
So, any of you at home, Cheez-It fan, but I've been really disappointed lately, get the Cheez-It. Look at the bar code. There's a little, I know it's going, but there's a little code, and it starts with a letter. If the letter is K, you're in good shape. That's my tip of the week
Frank,
for you.
What state do I avoid?
I
Like,
don't
what
know.
letter?
I would say everything but Kansas.
Everything but Kansas.
If you're watching this and you work at a Cheez-It factory that's not in Kansas, step your game up, bro.
I know it's not made in.
disrespected.
How do I know it's not made in Kentucky?
Maybe it was Kentucky. It doesn't matter.
I mean, what if one's bad and one's good?
Well, they
Okay,
don't have
Kansas.
one. They don't have one in two.
in
They'd have a
Kentucky.
different number if it was a Kentucky versus Kansas, right?
Okay.
That's their signals. K is from I think Kansas. Now I just need to find out where the good wheat thins are made because those are
Wait.
fucking all over the
Good
place.
luck.
Let me
If
get
you
my
know, put them in the
recommendation.
comments.
Yes, if you know the code, delete those, please.
Yeah.
Crack that code for me. Okay, well, fucking long ass episode. Who's ready to go to bed or run a key?
We're doing a key, right?
Oh,
What?
fuck.
Dude,
We
it's-
just
Yeah, why
bumped
not?
up another 12, so we're good to go.
That's episode 44. Thank you. Enjoy your Cheez-Its. We'll see y'all.
Good night, everybody.
Should we take a break off next week?
Why?
I don't know. I just feel like
I'm
Tired?
I'm out. I'm out till Wednesday.
If there's nothing
Okay.
that is like,
we will do an episode if
warrants
there's
an
some
emergency.
big awesome
Yeah.
stuff. But if not, we're gonna take next week
Tell
off.
us
We'll be
tell
back.
us in the comments if you want an episode next week.
Actually, tell us in the comments who was the fault and who should be taken care of and pampered for being treated very poorly.
Yeah, who is
Like and subscribe.
Good night. Love y'all.
Yeah, good
See you
night.
later.
Bye.